Chapter 1334. Ridiculous. Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back and looked at the crowd. You want to cause trouble for me with such mediocre skills? You want to get the distant fire forging technique? There's only one word to describe your behavior. You're overestimating yourselves. To deal with trash like you, I can crush countless of you with a single finger. He taunted them unrestrainedly, firing at them all over the map. Damn it. Immediately the crowd was furious. As members of the underworld, they were all unruly, cruel, and ruthless. They killed people like flies. Yet, they were considered useless, and could be killed with a single finger. Although they admitted that Wu Wudi was very strong, he was looking down on them too much. Everyone, don't be fooled by this brat. Gu Yong, the leader of the Wolf Fang gang, jumped out. Such a powerful mystique must consume a lot of energy. How many times can he use it? Plus, we have the numbers advantage and endless reinforcements. We can exhaust him to death. Most importantly, this is the virtual world. We won't die. What's there to be afraid of? Hearing this, many people's eyes lit up. Just as Gu Yong said, such a powerful mystique could not be used too many times. After using it a few times, the brat's energy would be completely depleted. Cultivators without energy were no different from tigers without claws and fangs. They could only wait to be slaughtered. Of course, most importantly, they were in the virtual world and could not die. What was there to be afraid of? They would fight him to the death. Kill. In an instant, hundreds of Mystique Realm cultivators moved. But their targets were not Xiaoping, but Jiang Yaru and the others, as well as Yi Jejia and the other brats. That's a good idea. Xiaoping squinted. He could tell that they were planning to use Jiang Yaru and the others as a threat. After all, the 7 Malice Dragon Roar was very powerful, but it did not distinguish between friend and foe. Once he used this mystique, he would definitely hurt his allies. They were betting that Xiaoping wouldn't dare to harm his allies, so they set their targets on Jiang Yaru and the others. This way this brat would definitely hold back. If I were an ordinary person, I might not be able to do anything to you. But to think that you can use such a method to stop me? You're just too stupid. A cold glint flashed across Xiaoping's eyes as he channeled the magic power within his body. Azure Tharch Longevity Art, Omniscient Nature. Rumble, in an instant a boundless wood elemental aura surged from his body. The world tree in the depths of the Violet Kingdom was also trembling. It was as if his body had become a towering tree. As Xiaoping stood on the ground, he seemed to be able to absorb the boundless power of the earth and wood, which madly flowed into his body. It was as if a divine tree had been born. At the same time, strands of divine wood-type aura spread out from Xiaoping's body, seeping into the underground veins, and quickly entering the bodies of every single plant in the forest. What is this? Many people immediately cried out, because they discovered that the plants in the forest had undergone earth-shattering changes. They were growing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Trees that were hundreds of meters tall, and over 1,000 meters tall rose from the ground. Weeds also grew crazily, entangling like vines. They were so tall that they almost covered the heads of people. Flowers bloomed one after another. Regardless of the season, they all grew at that moment, completely ignoring the power of the seasons. The air around them was filled with a fragrant scent, and countless plants in the forest bowed slightly in Xiaoping's direction, as if they were welcoming the ruler of the wood element, the ancestor of all trees. Such a strange scene was also discovered by many, and everyone was shocked. Quick hide! The expressions of Gu Yong and the other gang leaders changed drastically. They felt an aura that was even more terrifying than before. The roots on the ground shot out like dragons, tearing the ground apart. In an instant, they were close to the gang members. Dong dong dong. Some of the roots were like spears, containing a sharp aura. In an instant, they pierced through the bodies of the martial artists. Some of the vines were as soft as ropes, like poisonous snakes. They wrapped around the bodies of the enemies and strangled them to death, leaving them with no way to escape. A man-eating flower opened its mouth and instantly swallowed a few martial artists into its stomach, digesting them quickly. Some of the flowers exuded a bewitching aura. Just smelling a little bit of it would cause one to faint and lose consciousness. In just a few breaths, The area within a radius of hundreds of miles had turned into a world of killing plants. Any enemy that invaded the forest would be wiped out without exception. How wonderful! Xiaoping stood in place, not moving. His divine sense was immersed in the world tree, controlling every plant to carry out a massacre. It was as if every plant was his clone, like a finger or an arm. Of course, without the world tree, it was simply impossible to control every plant. Who knew how much mental strength it would take to do so? But with the world tree as the core, he could become a supercomputer. He only needed to give an order to control countless plants. And he didn't need to spend too much mental strength. This is soul energy. Soon, Xiaoping discovered that every time he killed an enemy, these enemies would always emit some soul energy after they died. And then the soul energy would quickly dissipate into the void. But with his ability to devour soul energy, he could quickly capture the dissipating soul energy and integrate it into the depths of his soul. He could feel his divine sense increasing bit by bit. I didn't expect to be able to devour soul energy like this. What a pleasant surprise. Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. He knew that after people died in the virtual world, although they didn't really die, their souls would still suffer considerable damage, and a lot of soul energy would be emitted. Even if the amount of soul energy devoured was less than killing a living creature in the real world, with so many people piled up, it would still be quite a shocking amount of soul energy. It could strengthen one's soul to a terrifying level. Thinking of this, he didn't show any mercy and killed these gang members one by one. Run quickly. This is a demon. What kind of magic is this? How can it be so terrifying? It's a trap. This is definitely a trap. He definitely wants to kill us here. How can this be? Could it be that his magic power is endless? Everyone shouted in horror. They found that they couldn't get close to Xiaoping at all. And as time passed, their companions around them died one by one, all killed by these evil plants. They felt as if they had fallen into a hell of plants. There were enemies everywhere, and there was nowhere to run. Chapter 1335. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The people from the Wolf Fang gang quickly fled. They were completely terrified by Xiaoping. He was an undefeatable monster. They were simply waiting to die if they stayed. Although dying in the virtual network was not a real death, their souls would be weakened for a few months. They would not be able to log in for a short period of time. More importantly, all their treasures would be lost. They could not accept such a loss. Each and every one of them ran away happily, wishing that their parents had given them a few more legs. Monster Wu Wuti is a monster. Just one person killed 100,000 troops and caused them to collapse. Some died, some were crippled. What kind of divine power is that? It's so powerful. With divine power, he can control the power of all wood. It's very mysterious. No way. I've seen wood divine powers before. But those in the divine power realm can only control a dozen trees at most. They can't take it anymore. Yeah, he can control all the plants within a few hundred kilometers. It's too shocking. I can only say that his magic power is unbelievably strong. It's comparable to a divine beast. Comparable to a divine beast? He really is a monster. Many people were completely shocked. Xiaoping's combat power had refreshed their horizons. They knew that there was always someone better than you. Some of the disciples from the big families looked solemn. Even the most talented genius in their families could not do this when he was in the divine power realm. It was not hard to imagine that Wu Wuti was not just a liar. He must have an amazing heritage. Bang! Bang! Xiaoping chased after the gang members for another hour, crushing tens of thousands of people along the way. He slaughtered his way in and out of the forest, causing countless cultivators to flee for their lives. Blood flowed like a river as they fled in all directions. Many of them were killed by the plants, but there were also some who were trampled to death as they fled. This group of people fell into endless panic, and they didn't know where to run. I've used up a lot of energy. Xiaoping stood in the air. Even though his magic power was extremely strong, controlling so many plants to fight for such a long time made him feel a little weak. It was estimated that after a period of time, the magic power in his body would be exhausted. However, after this battle, no one dared to appear in front of him anymore. and no one dared to steal his ignis forging art. This was the result of his killing, and it was terrifying. However, there are still many benefits. My soul energy has grown quite a bit. Xiaoping was very satisfied. He had killed tens of thousands of people, and each of them had absorbed a wisp of soul energy. Moreover, most of the souls were above the fulfillment realm, and the energy was extremely pure. This also allowed his divine sense to evolve and expand little by little. With the improvement of his divine sense, the speed at which he swallowed the spiritual qi of heaven and earth, and refined his magic power also became faster. Oh no, Xiaoping. Lu Hu seems to have taken advantage of the chaos to escape. Yu Qiqi immediately transmitted a message over. She discovered that Lu Hu, who was originally at the bottom of the pit, had unknowingly slipped away, and she had no idea where he had gone. Escape? He can't escape. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. His divine sense spread out, covering a radius of over 10,000 kilometers. In a few breaths of time, he found Lu Hu's aura. The other party was hiding in a forest. Lu Hu probably thought that he had safely escaped from Xiaoping's clutches, so he leaned against a big tree, gasped for breath, and began to rest. Whoosh! Xiaoping's body flashed, and he chased after him. At this moment, Lu Hu was leaning against a big tree, gasping for breath. He looked around vigilantly, and when he sensed that there was no one around, he immediately felt a lot more at ease. Damn, that Wu Wuti is simply a monster. Lu Hu still had lingering fears. Previously, he had wanted to kidnap this kid and extort a large amount of money from him. But now, it seemed that he was already lucky that he was not killed. The Wolf Fang gang, the Giant Elephant gang, and the other gangs were all much stronger than his Black Tiger gang, and they had many experts. They had a total of 100,000 people, but this kid had single-handedly destroyed them. This was not something that ordinary humans could compare with. Without a doubt, this kid must be the direct heir of some ancient family, which was why he had such a shocking inheritance. As for why he was still doing such things even though he was from a large family, he could only think that it was a hobby of the children of large families. Or perhaps it was a game. Fortunately, that group of idiots came to stop Wu Wuti. Otherwise, I would be dead this time. I wouldn't even be able to keep the treasures on me. Lu Hu was extremely glad. If not for the Wolf Fang gang, he was afraid that he would have been dead. However, he immediately decided to list Wu Wuti as an important person that he absolutely could not afford to offend. Not only was he very strong, but he could also be the son of a large family. How could a small fry like the Black Tiger gang afford to offend such an important person? If his real identity was exposed, he was afraid that he would be chased through space, and he would not even know how he died. Whoosh! At this moment suddenly, a strong wind came, and in an instant, it was behind Lu Hu. Who is it? Lu Hu was shocked, and his hair stood on end like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. He was now seriously injured, and he was being targeted. Did that not bode well for him? He immediately focused, wanting to know who was looking for him. However, just as he looked back, he immediately saw a brick coming towards his head. Not good, Lu Hu shouted. With a thud, the brick hit his head hard. His consciousness disappeared into the endless darkness, and his soul instantly left the virtual network. In the next second, his soul returned to his body, and he immediately woke up from the real world. No, no, no. My frost silver needles, my treasures are gone, all gone. Lu Hu's face turned green, and he roared crazily, incomparably desperate. Who is it? Which immoral bastard is so shameless as to plot against me behind my back? Don't let me find you, or I will not rest until you die. He was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. Previously, he had worked so hard to escape, and he thought that he could sleep peacefully. Who would have thought that there would be a despicable and shameless person who would plot against him, killing him with a brick? He did not even see what the person who killed him looked like. One could imagine his anger now. However, no matter how much he roared, he had already died in the virtual world, and he could not log in for several months. Even if he wanted to find the murderer, it was impossible. What is this? Chapter 1336. This is Soul Freezing Silver Needle. Seeing this thing, Corinne immediately cried out, obviously a little surprised. Soul-freezing silver needle? What is this? Xiaoping asked. Corinne said in a deep voice, this is an incredible thing. Using this treasure, you can even directly kill people in the virtual network and destroy the other party's soul. It is a great killing weapon. You can still kill people in the virtual network? Xiaoping was taken aback. He didn't expect that there would be such a thing. Of course you can kill people. The universe virtual network is not an ordinary virtual network. It is between virtual and real, Corinne said. According to Old Master, this universe virtual network was built by the saints. Its main purpose is to make the soul immortal. As for becoming a tool for communication with the whole universe, it is just a side effect. Soul immortal. Xiaoping's eyes revealed a trace of cold light. He also suddenly thought of this. If the soul is in the virtual network, then it really doesn't exist. No matter how many times it is killed, it will be resurrected. If this virtual network world continues to evolve, turning virtual into real, maybe it can really become a divine world, a world of gods immortal. It is estimated that this is also the ambition of many saints. Where did you get this treasure? Xiaoping continued to ask. It should be from the outside world. Corinne thought for a moment and replied. Xiaoping's eyes widened. Things from the outside world can also be brought into the virtual network? He was really surprised. He didn't expect the universe virtual network to be so magical. Of course, as long as a certain price is paid. Corinne said. Moreover, things from the outside world can not only be brought in, but even things from the virtual world can also be brought out. Even the treasures in the virtual world can be of great benefit to cultivators and can improve their cultivation. For example, if you get 1,000-year-old ginseng in the virtual world, after consuming and refining it, it is equivalent to getting 1,000-year-old ginseng, exactly the same as in reality. It explained the magic of the universe virtual network. There is such a thing. Why haven't I heard of it before? Xiaoping asked. Corinne said with contempt. Before you were busy swindling people, where would you have time to know these things? Xiaoping also remembered a lot of things that happened before. Indeed, apart from the novice village, he had been staying in Far East City and didn't pay much attention to anything else. However, he was very thick-skinned and did not look embarrassed at all. Moreover, do you know why the virtual network is divided into novice village, low-level city, middle-level city and high-level city? Corinne looked at Xiaoping, but did not wait for Xiaoping to answer, and answered his own question. It's because the higher the level of the virtual network space, the closer it is to the real world, and the better the effects of the elixirs and treasures growing in this space. Novice village's level is too low, so most of the treasures are virtual and have no practical use. Low-grade cities are more than 10 times better than novice villages. They produce large amounts of spirit stones, spirit herbs, spirit liquids, and many other things. To cultivators, this is a great benefit. The treasures produced by intermediate and high-grade cities are even more powerful. Moreover, because no one will die in the virtual network, and one can obtain a large number of elixirs to increase one's cultivation. This also leads to most cultivators coming to the virtual network to search for treasures and train. Xiaoping nodded. This also solved one of his doubts. Very soon his eyes lit up. In that case, won't there be a lot of spiritual herbs appearing in this virtual space? And where do these spiritual herbs grow? He wanted to go and pick them. Indeed, these spiritual herbs basically grow in spirited mountains, Corinne said. But these spirited mountains are basically occupied by big families, big sects, and big forces. Ordinary cultivators basically don't have a share, and can only look at them with envy. Those gangs you encountered before, such as Wolf Teeth Gang, Black Tiger Gang, and other organizations, they also occupy a small mountain as their own base, monopolizing the spiritual herbs of spirited mountains. So they become stronger and attract countless strong people. Speaking up to here, he paused and continued. This is also the reason why the virtual network is fighting endlessly. In order to compete for spirited mountains, countless cultivators fight to the death. Whoever occupies more spirit mountains will be able to occupy more resources and become more powerful. Occupy spirited mountains. Xiaoping knew that except for the city's safe zone, other places can kill each other, and no one will care. But spirited mountains are in the wilderness, which is a lawless zone. In this kind of place, whoever has the bigger fist is the boss. Interesting, that is to say, as long as you are strong enough, you can occupy a spirited mountain. Xiaoping touched his chin. So, I can also snatch the spirited mountains occupied by Black Tiger Gang and other gangs? Corinne was stunned. What do you want to do? What else can I do? Of course I want to flatten the nest of Black Tiger Gang. Only they can besiege me, and I can't retaliate. Xiaoping said righteously. Of course, the main purpose of this time is to punish evil and promote good. These gangs are doing all kinds of evil everywhere. They are oppressing the villagers, and the people have no way to live. I don't know how much anger they have aroused. In the past, no one cared about them, so they became more and more arrogant. But now it's different. I'm here. I want to let these gangs know that offending me, Xiaoping, no, it should be killing common people, and doing all kinds of evil is a wrong thing. It's not that I don't want to retaliate, it's just that the time has not yet come. Corinne twitched. This guy clearly wants to snatch the mini elixirs on other people's spirited mountain, and also brags that he is getting rid of evil for the people. He has never seen such a thick-skinned man so shameless. Moreover, when those gangs besieged Xiaoping before, they suffered heavy losses. They lost more than half of their elites. Now their nest is completely empty, and they are in an incomparably weak period. Attacking these spirited mountains now is clearly taking advantage of people's precarious situation, and hitting them while they are down. But for now, I should first go back and rendezvous with Jiang Yaro and the others, and then kill these gangs' nest in one fell swoop, and take revenge. Xiaoping clenched his fist. Then, he put away the soul-freezing silver needles. After all, this is a big killing weapon. It can kill people in the virtual world. This kind of method is too terrifying. If he encounters an arrogant enemy in the future, he can completely kill the other party in the virtual world. Even if he doesn't use it in the virtual world, he can also use it in the real world. This is his trump card. He is really grateful to Lu Hu. Without him, how could he get such a big killing weapon? Chapter 1337. Black Tiger Mountain. This was a spirit mountain controlled by the Black Tiger Gang. It wasn't too far from Far East City, and it was also the gang's base camp. Most of the gang's elites lived here. Spirit chi lingered around this spirit mountain, and there seemed to be a spirit vein circulating. Many spirit herbs grew on the mountainside. At a glance, one could tell that this was a land of outstanding talents. Cultivating here would be several times faster than other places. At the moment, many of the gang's elites were gathered in a hall at the top of Black Tiger Mountain. I heard the gang leader brought people to kidnap that liar Wu Wudi. What happened? What's the point of asking? Can't you see that so many people came back injured? Many of our brothers were killed, and in the end, even the gang leader was killed. Don't even mention how tragic it was. Damn, isn't that kid just a liar? Even the gang leader couldn't catch him? Liar my ass. That guy is a tiger in sheep's clothing. He's so ferocious that he's a complete mess. His battle prowess is too ferocious. At that time, hundreds of brothers were killed by him in one move. Even the gang leader couldn't escape his evil claws. Really? No matter how strong he is, he's only at the peak of the transcendent realm. It's not like I haven't seen it before. The gang leader is an expert like that. But he couldn't kill hundreds of brothers in one move. That's because you didn't see it. I thought that killing hundreds of brothers in one move was ridiculous enough. But then dozens of gangs came looking for him. There were 100,000 of them. And that's enough to flatten the Black Tiger Gang dozens of times. But when he goes berserk, once he goes berserk, 60,000 people are killed with a single roar. And the remaining tens of thousands are chased and killed like chickens. That is called a river of blood. If it was in the real world, it would be a massacre, a one-sided massacre. Damn, the more I hear, the more fake it sounds. That's an enemy, can you not brag for him? What do you mean brag? I'm just telling the truth. If you don't believe me, you can ask the other brothers. They were all there and can testify for me. If I'm lying, I'll be struck by lightning. It's true. It wasn't easy for us to come back alive. It was a narrow escape from death. Yeah, we weren't the only ones who saw it. There were many witnesses at the scene. The Wolf Fang Gang, the Giant Elephant Gang, and the Big Bear Gang all suffered heavy casualties. They were killed like dogs by him. Damn it, why is this guy so cruel? It seems like he's not just a swindler, but also a bandit who kills people like scything flax. That must be the case. I can guarantee that this is definitely not his original appearance. He must have had plastic surgery. That guy might be a wanted interstellar pirate, the very cruel kind. A group of Black Tiger Gang members were talking about it. Some people even maliciously slandered Xia Ping's reputation, thinking that this guy might be a wanted criminal who hid his true face and was guilty of many crimes. Thump thump thump. At this moment, the entire spiritual mountain rang with the urgent sound of a bell. At first, they didn't pay much attention to the bell, but when it rang for the 9th time, their expressions changed drastically. Enemy attack. Without a doubt, it was an enemy attack. Just 3 tolls of the bell meant that trouble was coming, 5 tolls meant that a strong enemy was coming, and 9 tolls meant that the sect was in danger of being annihilated, requiring all the sect members to take action and resist with their lives. Hearing this sound, a group of Black Tiger Gang leaders rushed out. Damn it, what the hell is going on? Why are there 9 tolls of the bell? How many years has it not been rung? Who doesn't know that our Black Tiger Gang is the overlord of Far East City? We've been dominating for decades, and we have more than 10,000 members, all of whom are elites. Who dares to touch our Black Tiger Gang? Are they tired of living? Someone must have seen that our Black Tiger Gang lost 2,000 elites, and even our leader died. We can't go online for a few months, so they want to hit us while we're down. Bastards, when a tiger doesn't show its might, they think I'm a sick cat. They even want to take advantage of people's difficulties to cause trouble on our Black Tiger Mountain. They really don't know what's good for them. Even if the leader isn't here, our Black Tiger Gang isn't something that just anyone can provoke. Brothers, take up your weapons and kill those troublemakers. A group of people shouted and rushed out of the main hall aggressively. Suddenly, a Black Tiger Gang guard outside shouted, "Wu Woody, it's the great swindler Wu Woody. Quickly ask the leader to come over and hold the fort. We can't hold them off any longer." What? The great swindler Wu Woody? An unparalleled ferocious man, who could kill 60,000 people with a single roar. Oh my god, this bastard really killed his way up. Quickly ask the leader to come over. Otherwise, we won't be able to stop this unparalleled ferocious man. Invite my ass. The leader is already dead. He can't go online for a few months. How are we going to invite him? Call the vice sect master and many of the sect elders over. Have them all come over. We can't let this bastard do whatever he wants. So what if he's Wu Woody? If he dares to cause trouble on Black Tiger Mountain, we'll die with him. The members of the Black Tiger Gang shouted loudly. They were full of fighting spirit and aggressive. They, the Black Tiger Mountain, had dominated Far East City for dozens of years, and had never been afraid of others. Bang! 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 At that moment, the main hall's door was kicked open. Wood splinters flew everywhere. Then more than 10 Black Tiger Gang guards were sent flying. They slid along the ground for dozens of meters, coughing up blood. Clearly, these dozen guards had been kicked and were already half dead. They couldn't even get up. The surrounding Black Tiger Gang members were so scared that they pissed their pants. They didn't dare to stay at the door. They scrambled and ran away. Xia Ping walked in very calmly. Behind him were Jiang Yaru, Su Ji, Yu Qiqi and Chu Rong, as well as Yi Jejia and 20 to 30 other brats. From the looks of it, it didn't look like he was here to get beaten up. Instead, he looked like he was here to travel with his children. Wu Woody, what are you trying to do? How dare you barge into Black Tiger Mountain? Are you planning to become enemies with all of us? How dare you? What kind of medicine did you take? If you don't explain your goal clearly, you'll be walking out of here. With a few swishing sounds, the Black Tiger Gang members immediately sent out a Black Tiger Baleful formation. It fused all of the gang members' magic power. This was a heaven and earth formation. Many of the Black Tiger Gang members scolded Xia Ping. They were shocked and angry. They were shocked. They had thought that Wu Wudi had killed 2,000 members of the Black Tiger Gang, as well as 100,000 people from dozens of gangs. He had killed so many people that their blood flowed like a river. He had done such an earth-shattering thing, and this matter should have ended and died down. Wu Wudi should have returned to the safe zone with the distant fire forging technique. But they didn't expect that not long after, this guy would directly kill his way to Black Tiger Mountain to cause trouble. Such a thing was simply too absurd. How many years had it been? After they became the overlord of Far East City and occupied Black Tiger Mountain, no one dared to come to Black Tiger Mountain. No one dared to cause trouble for the Black Tiger Gang. Chapter 1338. Why are you asking me why I am here? Xiaoping clasped his hands behind his back and looked at the Black Tiger Gang members. It's simple. I am here for only one purpose, and that is to destroy the Black Tiger Gang. His body exuded a terrifying aura that instantly enveloped the entire mountain. Arrogant bastard. You want to destroy my Black Tiger Mountain? You must be dreaming. Let's attack together and kill this bastard. Immediately, the Black Tiger Gang members were furious. Though they knew that Ling Xian had ill intentions, they did not expect him to destroy the Black Tiger Gang. This conflict was irreconcilable, and they could only fight to the death. The Black Tiger Array of Malice. In an instant, hundreds of Black Tiger Gang members formed a huge mountain. Their spiritual power gushed out and a huge array appeared, absorbing the malice chi in the surroundings. Boom! Immediately, a black tiger formed by the condensation of dark yin chi appeared in midair. Its eyes were extremely ferocious, revealing a frightening cold light. Its sharp claws were ferocious, like a black tiger that had walked out of hell, symbolizing evil and ominous. Roar! The Black Tiger Gang members did not show any mercy to Xiaoping. They immediately activated their killer move. The spiritual power of hundreds of Black Tiger Gang members exploded. The Black Tiger roared into the sky. It pounced at Ling Xian, at a speed 10 times faster than the speed of sound. At the same time, the malice chi caused the temperature in the hall to drop by tens of degrees. The ground seemed to have frozen. After all, this Black Tiger was strong and fast. The malice chi on its body was even more terrifying. Once it entered the body, it would freeze all the internal organs. You want to use the malice chi against me? This is so funny. Xiaoping did not even look at it. He punched, and the sun essence in his body exploded from his dantian. Whoosh! A fist force that contained the essence of the sun blasted out instantly. It transformed into a golden crow of hell in the void. It flapped its wings and pounced toward the Black Tiger. Roar! Immediately, the Black Tiger let out a shrill roar. The golden crow of hell pounced on it and bit off its head, swallowing it whole. If that was all, it would have been fine. The Black Tiger condensed from baleful yin chi was immortal. As long as the hundreds of Black Tiger Gang members didn't die, they could instantly condense another one. But at this moment, a terrifying sun essence flame burst out. It was as hot as the sun, emitting boundless radiance. When the baleful yin chi came into contact with it, it immediately melted like ice and snow, emitting sizzling sounds. After a few breaths, the baleful yin chi immediately melted and disappeared from this space. At the same time, the sun essence turned into tongues of fire that shot out in all directions, bombarding the Black Tiger Gang members. Bang bang bang. In the next second, the members of the Black Tiger Gang, who came into contact with the sun essence, all let out miserable screams. Their bodies were surrounded by flames, as if they had turned into torches. The scorching flames burned their bodies. In the blink of an eye, 200 to 300 Black Tiger Gang members were burned alive. The originally complete Black Tiger baleful yin formation was now riddled with holes and completely collapsed, unable to reform again. The remaining members of the Black Tiger Gang also suffered the backlash from the destruction of the formation, and all of them were shaken to the point that their lungs were injured. Seeing this situation, their hearts turned cold. Although they had heard all sorts of legends about Xiaoping killing tens of thousands of people with a single roar, they had always felt that it might be an exaggeration. But now, he had killed hundreds of them with a single move, and it was as easy as blowing off dust. Against such a powerful enemy, how could they fight? There was no way to fight. Don't be arrogant, you little thief. Let me deal with you. Die. You dare to cause trouble while the gang leader isn't here? Don't think that the Black Tiger gang has no one. Just then, dozens of people rushed out from the depths of the hall. All of them were Divine Realm cultivators, and a dozen of them were peak Divine Realm. These people were the true higher-ups of the Black Tiger gang, the core of the core. At first, they had been staying in the back hall to cultivate in peace, but seeing a powerful enemy coming to their door and killing their subordinates without a chance to fight back, they could no longer sit still. Little thief, die. A bald man wielding a giant axe came swinging down. He was the vice gang leader of the Black Tiger gang, a peak Divine Realm cultivator, whose strength was second only to the gang leader, Lu Hu. When someone like this attacked, the aura of his axe was shocking. It was as if he was going to split the hall in half, and it felt like the world was shaking. Xia Ping rushed forward and simply punched, with the power to uproot mountains and rivers, the fist energy reaching the heavens. Dong! Immediately, the bald man's body and the giant axe were smashed into pieces, exploding in the air. Just like that, he was killed by a single punch. Oh my God! The faces of the Black Tiger gang members turned green. When the vice gang leader appeared, they were more or less looking forward to it. After all, the deputy gang leader was a famous martial artist. Relying on a giant axe, he chopped from the south of the city to the north, killing people like scything flax. He was extremely vicious and evil. Even a cultivator with the same level of magical power had been chopped in half by his axe. But now, before the vice gang leader could show his power, he was killed by a single punch. Don't be afraid, everyone. Let's attack together. 2 fists are no match for 4 hands. There's bound to be times when he's careless. That's right. 1 slash and he'll be dead. He's definitely no match for us. This is the base of the Black Tiger gang. Where else can he run to? We can't let him destroy our base. Let this guy see the bravery of the Black Tiger gang. The elders of the Black Tiger gang swarmed forward, calling out to their brothers. Against these people, Xia Ping was expressionless. He didn't use any martial arts at all, just a simple punch, a palm and a kick. But with his dense mana, he was able to unleash terrifying power. Dong! With a slap, his chi condensed into a wall, and a dozen members of the Black Tiger gang were sent flying. Like swatting mosquitoes, they smashed into the wall and turned into meat paste. Boom! With a punch, the chi exploded, creating a series of explosions. This was the 100 Steps Godly Fist, and dozens of members of the Black Tiger gang were penetrated by the chi and shattered on the spot. Bang! With a kick, like a giant stepping on mountains and rivers, dozens of members of the Black Tiger gang were sent flying. They were sent flying out of the Black Tiger mountain and smashed through 5 or 6 mountains before dying. When Xia Ping used a simple fist technique, it was like a giant using a divine ability. It was like a tiger entering a flock of sheep. The members of the Black Tiger gang were either killed, injured, or crippled. After a few minutes, the members of the Black Tiger gang in the main hall were all cleared. They were either killed or fell to the ground, unable to fight anymore, leaving behind a bunch of defeated soldiers. No, we can't stop him. This kid is too savage. Where's the leader? Why isn't the leader out? The leader died a long time ago. Don't you know? It's over. The Black Tiger gang is completely finished this time. Chapter 1339. Wait, Wu Wudi, what do you want? Stop immediately. This is the herb garden of Black Tiger Mountain. There are countless spirit herbs here. Do you know how much effort we put into it? No, don't pull out my blue lotus. This is the spirit herb for me to break through to the Theurgy realm. It'll mature soon. How can you be so cruel as to take it away? Animals, stop immediately. This is the spirit herb of Black Tiger Mountain. You can't take it away. My God, it's gone. Everything's gone. Not a single spirit herb is left. Decades of hard work of the Black Tiger gang is gone. I want to die. Animal, you're going to pull out even a blade of grass. Wu Wudi, are you still human? Do you have any humanity left? Do these bastards want our herb garden to be barren? The faces of the Black Tiger gang members turned green. They'd thought that Xia Ping would leave after teaching them a lesson. They hadn't expected these bastards to go straight into the herb garden. These guys were a bunch of bandits, the kind that plucked feathers from wild geese. Especially the group of children. They were like a group of little bandits, happily plucking spirit herbs, one after another, filling their little backpacks to the brim. But they were still not satisfied. They even had a spirit herb in their mouths. In the end, they didn't even let go of the weeds growing on the ground. They might have some spirit chi and might be useful, so they plucked them all. Now, not to mention the spirit herbs, even the plants were gone. Not even a blade of grass grew. It was a barren wasteland that had turned into a desert. Such a scene was simply like a locust invasion. Some of the Black Tiger gang members with weak hearts were so angry that they fainted and fell to the ground. Quick, stop them. These bastards are going to our treasury. Stop them. Some of the Black Tiger gang members' expressions changed. They'd seen Wu Wudi and the others rob the herb garden and then run to Black Tiger Mountain's treasury. That treasury was the wealth the Black Tiger gang had obtained through decades of plundering, extortion, and other evil deeds. They couldn't afford to lose it. The gang leader had to look at it several times a day to feel at ease. Only then would he be willing to sleep or cultivate. One could imagine how much the gang leader valued it. If such a treasure vault was seen by these bandits, one could imagine what would happen. Stop. How can we stop it? That's right. Just now, the deputy gang leader didn't even have the chance to show off before he was killed with a single punch. Even if we go up, I reckon we'll only be able to take a single breath. Even with so many people, we can't stop them. Even if we go up, we'll just be throwing our lives away. There's nothing we can do about it. Let's pack our luggage and split up later. Many members of the Black Tiger gang were in despair. In the battle just now, basically all the big shots of the Black Tiger gang had been taken care of and killed. They wanted to resist, but they didn't have the strength to. Not long after, Xia Ping and the others plundered the treasury and quickly came out from inside. Damn it, why are you out so soon this time? Are you looking down on our treasures? Bullshit. These bandits even uprooted the grass. What is there that they look down on? God damn it, these bastards didn't leave anything behind. They even took away the wooden table in the treasury and a few light bulbs on the wall. Shameless to the extreme. Bastards, how is this stealing treasures? This is simply cleaning up. Everything was taken away. Are these bastards from the Taodai clan? Why didn't they let anything go? The group of members of the Black Tiger gang were furious. They gritted their teeth as they watched Xia Ping and the others move the treasures out of the treasury in big and small bags, as if it was their own home. Some people's eyes were wide open. Even the gang leader Lu, who couldn't bear to use these treasures. Now, all of them were taken away by these bastards. Not a single one was left. This was simply cutting off their flesh. However, they couldn't do anything to these bastards. They could only stare at them from the side. Don't mention how sullen this matter was. Thank you, brothers of the Black Tiger gang, for the treasures. If there's a chance next time, I'll come again. Before leaving, Xia Ping greeted this group of people with a very warm attitude. What? The group of members of the Black Tiger gang's faces immediately darkened. Thank my ass. Who needs you to thank me? These treasures weren't given at all. You shameless bastard took them away. However, when they heard the last sentence, their faces darkened even more than Master Bao's. If there's a chance next time, come again? Oh my god, this immoral bastard actually wants to come again next time. He's crazy about money. Does he already treat the Black Tiger Mountain as his own home? He can come and go as he pleases. Or does he treat the Black Tiger Mountain as his ATM? When he's short of money, he wants to ask the Black Tiger Mountain for money. What does he think the Black Tiger gang is? Is it so easy to bully? They simply wanted to rush up and beat this bastard up. He actually dared to look down on the Black Tiger gang. This is too much. However, after thinking about it, they still didn't dare to act. The other party's martial strength was too abnormal. If an ordinary gang member went up, they would probably die with one punch. In the end, the group of Black Tiger gang members could only watch helplessly as Xia Ping and the others left. Not long after, in the real world, Lu, who also knew that his Black Tiger Mountain was invaded by Xia Ping, because the deputy gang leader and the others were also killed by Xia Ping, They were forced out of the virtual network. They quickly reported this matter to Lu Hu. What did you say? Hearing the deputy gang leader and the other's words, Lu Hu's eyes widened, and he said crazily, that bitch Wu Wuti actually killed his way up the Black Tiger Mountain, and is wantonly plundering the Black Tiger gang's treasures? How dare he do such a thing? Does he want to fight to the death with the Black Tiger gang? He was simply furious when he thought of the large number of treasures he placed on the Black Tiger Mountain, as well as the large number of spiritual herbs he planted in the herb garden. He went crazy. This was because these things were wealth that Lu Hu used the power of the Black Tiger gang to finally cultivate for decades. It could be said to be decades of hard work. However, such painstaking efforts were all destroyed by Xia Ping. One could imagine the hatred in his heart right now. He even had the intention to kill someone. Boss, he's already fighting to the death with us. Ever since we brought people to exterminate him and wanted to kidnap him for ransom, the deputy gang leader and the others said helplessly. It was obvious that this Wu Wuti killed his way up the Black Tiger Mountain to take revenge on the Black Tiger gang. He was very open and never hid his intentions. However, the other party's strength was too terrifying, and they couldn't do anything to him. Wu Wuti, just you wait. This enmity is irreconcilable. I will definitely take revenge. Lu Hu gritted his teeth. His heart was bleeding. He thought of how all the treasures he had painstakingly accumulated were all gone. He didn't know how long it would take to make up for them. Chapter 1340. The next day, a mountain peak pierced the sky, surrounded by clouds and mist. It was like a fairyland. On the peak of the mountain, there was a majestic palace. There was a plaque on the top of the palace, and on it, there were 3 golden words, Wolf Fang Gang. Inside, many Wolf Fang gang members were chatting. That Wu Wuti is really cruel. Isn't that so? The gang leader and a small group of elites only managed to escape with their lives. The others are all inside. Fortunately, this is the virtual world. Otherwise, they would all be dead. That Wu Wuti is not just brutal. He's lawless. I heard that the Black Tiger gang, the overlord of the Far East City, was flattened by him yesterday. All the treasures on the Black Tiger Mountain were plundered by him, and not even a blade of grass was left. No way. He actually flattened the Black Tiger gang and took all the treasures on Black Tiger Mountain. He's so cruel. Didn't the Black Tiger gang resist? They're gangsters after all. Don't they have any guts? Why didn't they resist? They risked their lives to resist, but they were all killed. I heard that the deputy gang leader took the lead, but he was killed with one punch. It was very tragic. Where's the gang leader? Where did he go? Isn't he going to come out and do justice? He died a long time ago. I heard that in the chaos, the leader of the Black Tiger gang, Lu Hu, was hit by a stick and sent out with a brick. Even the treasures on his body were robbed clean. Misfortune never comes alone. Even without the gang leader, there are other elites. That kid doesn't have any helpers. Why didn't they find someone to kill him? 2 fists are no match for 4 hands. Don't those idiots from the Black Tiger gang know this? They've already found someone to kill him, but what's the use? Previously, dozens of our gangs and 100,000 soldiers were chased like dogs by him. Some died, some fled. Do you think the Black Tiger gang alone can stop this devil? Now I heard that the Black Tiger gang is planning to disband. They're planning to pack their bags and disband. Fuck, he almost annihilated them. This Wu Wuti is really ruthless. Fortunately, the Wolf Fang gang is not in Far East City. Otherwise, that demon might come to us. What do you mean? Are you looking down on the Wolf Fang gang? So what if he's here? Do you think we're afraid of Wu Wuti? What a joke. That's right. With gang leader and the elders of the Wolf's Fang gang here, even if that guy comes, he won't be able to walk away unscathed. Let's teach him a lesson. That's right, that's right. Our Wolf Fang gang is not like the Black Tiger gang. Do you think that just anyone would dare to cause trouble for us? The group of Wolf Fang gang members discussed animatedly, and their words were filled with disdain towards Xia Ping. They felt that it was impossible for him to do so, and he did not have the guts to kill his way up to Wolf Fang Mountain. Dong dong dong. At this moment, someone knocked on the wooden door of the hall, one after another rhythmically. The members of the Wolf Fang gang were stunned and looked at each other. What's going on? Who's knocking? Could it be a guest? Nonsense. Our Wolf Fang Mountain is an important place for the Wolf Fang gang. If there are guests, they must register in advance and make an appointment. Not everyone can come in. Could it be that the other brothers of our Wolf's Fang gang have returned? I'm not sure. Let's go and take a look. A young man in black walked out and shouted at the door. Who is it? What's the matter? Delivery. A voice rang out from outside. Delivery? What the heck? There's delivery in the virtual world. Don't you know that you won't get hungry in the virtual world? The group of people had a strange look on their faces. Delivery? Who ordered delivery? Could it be gang leader? However, the young man in black was also confused. In the real world, he often ate delivery, and it had become a habit. Without suspecting anything, he opened the door subconsciously. It was too late for the others to stop the man in black. Immediately, a young man walked in, followed by a group of children and a few women. It was as if they were a big family, and they walked in majestically. Hey, what are you doing? This is an important place for the Wolf's Fang gang. What are you doing here? Don't you have any privacy? Put down the delivery and scram. If you dare to take another step forward, believe it or not, the Wolf Fang gang will kill you. The man in black instinctively sensed that something was wrong. He immediately stopped the young man and revealed a ferocious look. Wolf Fang Mountain was not a place that just anyone could enter. Not even a delivery man. Kill me? Just you? The young man smiled slightly, revealing a mouthful of white teeth. He looked very ferocious. When the group of Wolf Fang gang members saw the young man's appearance, they all took a step back in fright. Their faces turned pale. Wuwoody. Damn, Wuwoody is here. He really came. Call the gang leader. Call the gang leader out immediately. Enemy attack. Enemy attack. This is bad, this is bad. The Wolf Fang gang members all shouted in panic. They were extremely terrified. They did not expect that Wuwoody, who had caused trouble at Black Tiger Mountain the day before, would come to Wolf Fang Mountain the next day. Previously it was the Black Tiger gang. Now it was the Wolf Fang gang. Was he going to challenge all the sects that were attacking him one by one? If it was true, then he was too arrogant and condescending. In an instant, someone immediately rang the alarm bell. The clanging sounds echoed throughout Wolf Fang Mountain. Swoosh, swoosh. Hearing this warning bell, countless higher-ups of Wolf Fang Mountain, including gang leader Guyong, quickly ran out from the depths of the main hall. Even some of the gang members who had just joined the Wolf Fang gang ran out. However, when they saw Xiaoping, all of their faces turned ashen. This was because they all knew that this demon had personally come to Wolf Fang Mountain. He was coming with a menacing aura. Things were not looking good. Gang leader Guyong put on a strong front. He looked down at Wuwoody. Wuwoody, what are you doing here at Wolf Fang Mountain? Do you know that there are tens of thousands of our brothers here? Just one spit from each of them can drown you. He wanted to gain the upper hand and scare Xiaoping. A life for a life. A debt must be paid. Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back. I came to Wolf Fang Mountain for no other reason than to seek justice from all of you. Justice? What justice do you want? Previously, you killed thousands of our brothers. You've returned all the justice you want. Guyong shouted angrily, wanting to refute Xiaoping. They only have themselves to blame for their deaths. It's not justice, Xiaoping said lightly. Then what do you want? Guyong suppressed his anger. Xiaoping said, it's very simple. Hand over all the treasures of Wolf Fang Mountain. Leave none behind. He stated his conditions. Bullshit. Wuwoody, don't go too far. You want to take all the treasures of Wolf Fang Mountain? You're delusional. Don't think that you're invincible. If we really fight to the death, we won't even know who will emerge victorious. You're too greedy. You don't know your place. If you want to fight, then let's fight. Chapter 1341. The members of the Wolf Fang gang, including Guyong, were furious at Xiaoping's words. Robbing someone of their wealth was akin to killing their parents. The Wolf Fang gang had painstakingly accumulated their wealth for decades. God knew how much effort they had put into managing the Wolf Fang Mountain. How could this be? Gu Yong and the rest knew that they could not hide this time. They had to fight. Everyone set up the formation. Gu Yong shouted and gave the order. The members of the Wolf Fang gang moved immediately. They were well trained and moved to their positions. In a few breaths, they had set up a huge formation. This was the Wolf Fang gang's famous Wolf Fang formation. Relying on this battle formation, they could display several times their combat strength, like a pack of wolves devouring a tiger, killing the enemy. Rumble! In an instant, the formation was activated. Strand after strand of magical power gathered and transformed into huge black wolves with sharp claws and sharp fangs. They looked extremely ferocious. Each of these black wolves was terrifying. They were like ferocious beasts. Not only did they have hard shells and impenetrable bodies, they also had terrifying claws that could tear enemies apart. There were tens of thousands of these black wolves. It was as if a wolf pack had appeared. Dai Wu Wudi! Gu Yong roared. He stood in the middle of the formation, and his magical power formed a wolf that was 10 times larger than the other wolves. There seemed to be a golden crown on its head. It seemed like this wolf was the king of the wolves that could rule over countless black wolves. If there was a king among the wolves, they would not fear death. They could even command the wolves to unleash even greater power to tear their enemies apart. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. These giant black wolves pounced at Xia Ping without any regard for the cost. They clawed at him, containing the sharp qi of Gingjin. Even if it were a cultivator of the divine ability realm, they would be pierced by this claw and be severely injured on the spot. The scene of tens of thousands of black wolves attacking was extremely shocking. It was like an army advancing. A single person's power was extremely insignificant in front of an army. Rock steps. Xia Ping's body flashed and transformed into a rock. As if he had shrunk the ground, he instantly left his original spot and dodged the attacks of hundreds of black wolves. In an instant, he entered the center of the formation. Oh no, this bastard wants to fight the leader. Stop him. Stop this kid immediately. Surround him. Surround him and kill him. Don't let him escape. Many of the Wolf Fang gang members shouted angrily. They spread out and attacked from all directions. Want to kill me? Dream on. Gu Yong sneered and looked at Xia Ping disdainfully. He was the core of the wolf teeth-shattering formation. If the core of the formation was destroyed, the formation would naturally collapse by itself. But knowing this, how could he not be on guard? First of all, he arranged dozens of guards around him to prevent the enemy from carrying out the decapitation tactic. Of course, more importantly, Gu Yong was extremely powerful. Even if he didn't have any guards around him, as a cultivator at the peak of divine tier, there weren't many who could kill him in a formation in a low-grade city. If Wu Wudi dared to do this, he would be courting death. It was suicide. Damn it, not good. Just as Gu Yong was feeling complacent, he suddenly realized that Wu Wudi was extremely ferocious. It was like the ancient general Lu Bu had come back to life. He attacked alone, his fists like spears, piercing through the void. Dong! With just one punch, the dozens of Wolf Fang gang guards in front of him were immediately pierced like barbecued meat. A bloody hole appeared in their chests, and they disappeared from the virtual space just like that. What kind of fist technique is this? Gu Yong resisted with all his might, but he realized that Xia Ping's fist seemed to contain a vortex. It was like a black hole that devoured all power. The power of the divine tier power that he used was completely devoured, leaving nothing behind. Boom! In the next second, the fist landed on his body. A terrifying magical power erupted like the sea, concentrated at one point, and contained terrifying destructive power. I'm dead. Gu Yong's eyes widened. He slowly lowered his head and looked at his chest. There was already a bloody hole the size of a fist, and blood was dripping down. He was stunned, as if he couldn't believe that he was killed with just one punch. Even with the many guards around him, they couldn't withstand the power of the fist. With a thud, Gu Yong fell to the ground, no longer breathing. Oh no, the gang leader was killed with one punch. Damn it, did those guards grow up eating shit? Why didn't they stop this guy? They did, but they were also killed with one punch. They couldn't block it at all. Devil, this guy is a devil. We are no match for a devil like him. Many of the Wolf Fang gang members screamed in fear. With Gu Yong's death, the Wolf Fang army breaking formation immediately collapsed. A terrifying wave of primordial qi exploded from the center, as if it was creating a spiritual qi tide. Dong! One by one, the Wolf Fang gang members let out a blood-curdling scream. The spiritual qi wave was like the waves of the sea, constantly attacking and slapping on their bodies, shaking their lungs. Obviously, because the formation was broken, they also suffered from the backlash. Some of the weaker Wolf Fang gang members were immediately killed, turning into a pile of meat paste. Even if the remaining ones didn't die, they had lost most of their strength and could no longer fight. Go in and search for treasures in Wolf Fang Mountain, Xia Ping said to Yi Jejia and the other children. He didn't care about the half-dead Wolf Fang gang members. After this battle, they could no longer pose any threat to him. It was best if they didn't do anything. If they dared to resist, he didn't mind sending them to the Western Paradise to meet Buddha. Okay. Yi Jejia and the other children shouted excitedly. They were the best at plundering other people's treasures. They immediately rushed into the Wolf Fang gang's treasure vault. Not long after, they came out with big and small bags. Obviously, they had emptied the treasure vault. They didn't even let go of the herb garden. Every spiritual medicine was taken away. Let's go. Xia Ping was very satisfied. After looting all the treasures in Wolf Fang Mountain, he left with Yi Jejia and the rest. It's over, it's completely over. The treasure vault is empty. It's cleaner than your face. Damn, the herb garden was also robbed. Not a single spiritual medicine was left for us. Even the grass was taken away. They are worse than beasts. Who is the robber here? Wu Wudi, this is an irreconcilable enmity. In the future, the Wolf Fang gang will not rest until one of us is dead. Many of the Wolf Fang gang members gritted their teeth. They were filled with grief and indignation. They looked up to the sky and let out a long howl. It seemed that they had completely borne a grudge against Xia Ping. Chapter 1342. The next day, the Major Bear Gang was located on a towering mountain known as the Bear Ridge. Giant bears grew everywhere. The members of the Ursa Major Gang were all tall and strong, like giant bears, possessing immense strength. In terms of individual strength, the Major Bear Gang could be said to be one of the best among all the other gangs. But at this moment, the Major Bear Gang was in a gloomy mood, and faint voices could be heard. The Black Tiger Gang and the Wolf Fang Gang were defeated by Wu Wudi. It's not just those two gangs. After that lad challenged the Wolf Fang Gang, he also destroyed 2 or 3 small gangs near the Wolf Fang Mountain. They couldn't even escape. It was said that the scene was too horrible to look at. Damn it! So many gangs were defeated by him, and he doesn't seem to have any intention of stopping. Stop. He said he would visit them one by one and kill them all. What kind of joke is that? Does he want to challenge the Major Bear Gang? If he dares to come, the Major Bear Gang will fight it out with him. Fight it out? How can we fight it out? The Wolf Fang Gang and the Black Tiger Gang were about as strong as us, but they were both destroyed. Even the gang leader was killed with one punch. In the end, he didn't even hurt the kid. Damn it, this kid is a monster. Where did he come from? It doesn't matter where he came from. Let's just run, or we'll definitely be killed by him. Run. Where can we run to? This is the Bear Ridge, the territory of the Major Bear Gang. If we run, do we still want the Spirit Mountain and the Spirit Medicine? Do we want to give it to someone else? This is too frustrating. Since when has the Major Bear Gang been forced to this extent? That bastard is so arrogant. He'll definitely incur the wrath of the masses. I believe that soon, there will be people who will follow him, and he'll definitely be trampled to death. Bullshit, distant water can't put out a nearby fire. By the time they come, we'll already be dead. Many of the Major Bear Gang members gritted their teeth, feeling extremely frustrated. After all, they were a local tyrant with over 10,000 members. Now they were actually scared to this extent by a single person. How could they endure this? But it couldn't be helped. Wu Wudi's battle record was too shocking. The members of the Big Bear Gang, who had experienced that battle, were even more traumatized by Xia Ping. They had the urge to run away the moment they heard his name. The leader of the Ursa Major Gang, Yu Tao's expression was extremely ugly. As the leader, He should say something to raise the morale of the gang. But in the last battle, when 100,000 people besieged Xiaping, he was only able to come back alive after narrowly escaping death. If he wanted to deal with such a monster, he really didn't have the strength. To be honest, he wanted to pack up and run away. If he wasn't the leader of the Ursa Major gang, he would have set an example and not run away. Perhaps the first person to run away would be him. The threat of the other party was just that terrifying. At that moment, a few members of the Big Bear gang rushed in and let out heart-wrenching screams. Gang leader, bad news. That traitor Wu Wudi has brought a girl to kill us. What? Everyone's expression changed. They were just talking about Wu Wudi. They didn't expect him to kill them now. He didn't even plan on giving them any time to breathe. And not only did he kill them, he even brought a girl. He was looking down on them. What did he take the Ursa Major gang for? Was it a couple hotel for them? Bang! More than 10 figures flew in together with the wooden door outside. They crashed onto the ground and screamed like pigs being slaughtered. Then, Xiaping appeared in front of everyone. It's Wu Wudi. Fuck, this demon really came. Let's run. Run my ass. This is our base. Where else can we run to? No, let's fight him to the death and show the bravery of the Ursa Major gang. Old thief Wu, go and die. Many of the Ursa Major gang members shouted angrily. They were all forced into a desperate situation. One by one they attacked. There were hundreds and thousands of strong men. Their aura was astonishing, like an army. The leader of the Ursa Major gang, Yu Tao, also took the lead. A bunch of idiots. Xiaping clenched his fists, his expression ferocious. He was like a tiger in a flock of sheep, a shark in the sea. Everywhere he went, no one was a match. Spare me, spare me. I'm innocent, I'm innocent. I'm just a rookie who just joined the Ursa Major gang. I don't know anything. Big brother, I'm not the one chasing you. It's not me. Spare my life. Don't be afraid of him. We have more people. Elder, it's useless to have more people. They're all going to die. Everyone, don't be reckless. Be more wretched, and look for an opportunity. How can I be wretched? One punch and I'll be killed. I can't be wretched. Many people cried and begged for mercy. But no matter what they did, they were no match for him. Half an hour later, these people were all lying on the ground, screaming in agony. Their cries were too horrible to look at. Even sect leader Yu Tao was killed in the first instant. Anyone who resisted was killed on the spot by Xiaping. He didn't say anything. It could be said that those who were still alive were afraid of death. Everyone looked at Xiaping in fear. They didn't dare to act rashly. After a while, Xiaping led Yi Jiejia and the others to take away all the treasures of the Ursa Major gang. They plundered everything, not leaving a single treasure for them. It's over. Our Ursa Major gang is finished. Decades of accumulation. And now it's all for naught, all for naught. We worked so hard for so long just to work for Wu Wudi. That goddamn Wu Wudi, I'm not done with him. This bastard doesn't just want money. He wants life too. Sooner or later he'll be struck by lightning. Old thief Wu, if you don't have eyes when you give birth in the future, you won't have a good ending. The group cursed fiercely. Not only did they lose a lot of money, but they were also beaten up badly. Their bodies and minds were humiliated by this shameless person. One could imagine how angry they were now. But even so, there was nothing they could do. They could only curse silently and hope that this kid would be unlucky and meet someone that this bastard couldn't afford to offend. Hurry up and inform the other gangs about this. Tell them to pack up and run. Don't let them all die, shouted a senior member of the Ursa Major gang. It's too late. The Wild Lion gang is nearby. A member of the Ursa Major gang cried. What? The expressions of the Ursa Major gang members changed. The Wild Lion gang was too close to their Ursa Major gang. They were practically neighbors. Even if they wanted to warn them now, it was too late. Looks like the Wild Lion gang is finished. Many of the Ursa Major gang members sighed. It seemed like it wouldn't be long before a group of fellow sufferers appeared. Chapter 1343. By now, the news of the Ursa Mafia's destruction had reached the Wild Lion gang. Because the Wild Lion gang and the Ursa Mafia were so close, no matter what happened to the Ursa Mafia, It was difficult to hide it from the neighboring wild lion gang. Quick run. Pack your things. Wu Wuti is already here. What? Didn't he destroy the Wolf Fang gang and a few other gangs yesterday? He doesn't need to rest at all. Rest my ass. He's so fierce. The Ursa Mafia is howling in pain right now. They've already been trampled to the ground by this fiend. Even the gang leader was killed on the spot. He's merciless. No way. We're so close to the Ursa Mafia. And we're one of the gangs that went against Wu Wuti. Will he attack us? We're not in big trouble, are we? What's there to ask? He just destroyed the Ursa Mafia and is on his way here. He'll be here soon. Pack your things and run. Don't leave a single hair for that bastard. Many of the Wild Lion gang members were terrified. They'd already been frightened by Xiaoping's brutality. Although they were part of the Wild Lion gang, they didn't have the slightest bit of courage. They were like mice being targeted by a cat. Their only plan now was to escape. They couldn't win in a direct confrontation. Boom! At that moment, a loud sound came from the palace gates, causing the entire palace to shake. It's over, we can't escape. The leader of the Wild Lion gang, Tang Zhen, and the other elders all had looks of despair on their faces. They sensed a powerful aura approaching them, and there was no doubt that this powerful enemy was Wu Wuti. Since Wu Wuti had come to the Wild Lion gang, how could he let them escape? As expected, half an hour later, the Wild Lion gang was also reduced to rubble. All the treasures inside were swept clean by Xiaoping and the others. Several hours later, Xiaoping led Jiang Yaru and the others to slaughter their way into the giant elephant gang. But as soon as he arrived at the giant elephant gang, he saw Zhang Hao, as well as many of the giant elephant gang's higher-ups obediently waiting outside. They were all waving white flags to express their surrender. Jiang Yaru and the others were stunned for a moment. They had swept through all the gangs along the way, but this was the first time they had seen a gang surrender. Surrender? Xiaoping raised his brows and looked at the elephant gang members. That's right, all of us surrender. Our giant elephant gang is also willing to hand over all our treasures to Lord Wu. Zhang Hao and the others had flattering expressions on their faces, expressing that they were willing to give away all of their treasures and would not put up any resistance. The other members of the giant elephant gang also nodded in agreement. Surrender? Why surrender? I haven't had enough yet. Yi Jieja clenched her tender fists. She was obviously very satisfied. Her violent nature was awakening in her body. She felt that she had fallen in love with the feeling of beating people up. That's right, that's right. Aren't you adults too cowardly? Why didn't you resist before surrendering? Are you still men? I look down on you. A fatty said in disdain. If you have the guts, then fight 300 rounds with us, and see who will emerge victorious. I don't agree to surrender before we even fight. A young boy was very angry. His nostrils were emitting flames, and there were faint signs of the Samadhi true fire appearing. Fuck, a bunch of little demons. They didn't even allow them to surrender. They clearly wanted to torture them. Hearing these words, the giant elephant gang members were incomparably terrified. Clearly, these demons weren't satisfied with flattening their gang. They had already begun to pursue torturing their enemies. If they were to fall into the hands of these perverted demons, they would lose their lives. It was possible that they would be better off dead than alive. If it was just an ordinary death, they might be able to log back online in 2 or 3 months. But if they were tortured in the virtual world, the damage to their souls would be even more severe. It was possible that they wouldn't be able to log back online for a year. Moreover, for cultivators who were on the verge of breaking through, this was a fatal blow. If their souls were damaged, they might lose the opportunity to break through and be trapped in this realm for the rest of their lives. Sirs, please spare our little lives. That's right. We are willing to give up everything we have. If you still want to kill us, we'll close our eyes and wait for death. We'll stretch out our necks and wait for death. We definitely won't run. The giant elephant gang members closed their eyes, looking like they were ready to die a martyr's death. In truth, their intestines were green with regret. If they had the chance, they would rather abandon the giant elephant gang's businesses and flee. But Xiaoping and the others had come too quickly. They were still in a meeting to discuss what to do when Xiaoping charged up. In the end they had no choice. When this demon Wu Wuti appeared, they lost all their courage. All of them were so scared that their bones went soft. They immediately voted to surrender. What? Yi Jejia and the other children bared their teeth. When had they ever seen such a scene? Closing their eyes and waiting for death, not even resisting? Facing such an enemy, how could they bear to attack? Forget it. Since you've surrendered, I'll accept your surrender. It saves me a lot of effort. Xiaoping didn't care at all. He said to the giant elephant gang members, "Now bring out all the treasures in the gang. I'll be waiting for you in the main hall." He was calm and composed. Bring them out. The members of the giant elephant gang were infuriated. They had surrendered and handed over all their treasures. That was already a great humiliation, but this bastard wasn't satisfied. He wanted them to personally hand over their treasures to this shameless bastard. This was no different from personally giving his own wife to another man to fuck. Just how much did this demon want to bully them before he would let it go? What? You're not satisfied? Do you want to die? Xiaoping glanced at them. No, we're very satisfied. We'll bring the treasures to you now. The giant elephant gang's leader, Zhang Hao, was immediately frightened by Wu Wuti's glare. An hour later, the giant elephant gang members were sweating profusely. They took out all the treasures in the gang, piling them up on the ground. It was a dazzling lineup of treasures. Seeing these treasures about to disappear from their hands, Zhang Hao and the others felt like their hearts were being cut by a knife. It was like their flesh was being cut off piece by this despicable Wu Wuti. Thank you for taking care of them all this time. I'll be taking these treasures with me. Xiaoping waved his hand and immediately stored the treasures in his virtual storage space. He patted his butt and left the giant elephant gang in a carefree manner. Taking care of them, Zhang Hao and the others were so angry that smoke was coming out of their noses. They had worked so hard to gather treasures, just to help him take care of them? What kind of joke was that? Who did he think they were? Warehouse managers? But seeing Xiaoping and the others leave unscathed, their losses were relatively small compared to the Wolf Fang gang and the Black Tiger gang. At the very least, they didn't die at the hands of this savage demon. When the news of the giant elephant gang's surrender spread, it immediately shocked the surrounding hundreds of cities. Xiaoping led a group of children on a raid, spending more than 10 days to flatten hundreds of large gangs. These gangs either surrendered or were destroyed. Chapter 1344. At that moment, the soaring cloud sect ruled over the 5 major star fields. The people near Far East City, in particular, began to talk about Wu Wuti. After all, whether it was the saint-grade forging art, or the fact that he had flattened hundreds of gangs, it was extremely sensational. Something big has happened. Wu Wuti is causing trouble again. What's going on? Is that swindler Wu Wuti starting to kill for money again? Do you know about the distant fire forging technique? It's the sacred forging technique that has caused a lot of commotion recently. Of course, this matter has attracted the attention of countless forces. If it weren't for the fact that I'm too far away, and that I don't think I'm strong enough, I would have personally taken it. What's wrong? Is Wu Wuti related to this? Of course he's related. Wu Wuti got the distant fire forging technique. Really? So many people are fighting for it. But they can't even beat a swindler. This is too much of a joke. Many people were shocked. They did not expect that the sacred forging technique that so many forces were fighting for would be obtained by a swindler. It was true that Wu Wuti was very famous before, but that was only in the world of swindlers. It did not mean that Wu Wuti was very capable. Sometimes, strength and fame did not equal each other. In fact, some people were very disdainful of Wu Wuti. No matter how smart or rich he was just a trash warrior. The universe still valued one's own strength. If one was not strong enough, one could be killed with a slap from an expert. One would not have a chance to resort to swindling. However, such a weakling, a swindler who only knew how to hide, had actually managed to get the distant fire forging technique from so many people. This shocked many people. This is not a joke. He didn't use any tricks either. He relied purely on strength to defeat 100,000 people alone, and forcefully kill his way out to get the distant fire forging technique. Someone sighed. Impossible. Someone did not believe it at all. That guy is at most a cultivator at the peak of theurgy in a low-grade city. But there are a lot of cultivators at the peak of theurgy in low-grade cities. This kid defeated 100,000 people alone? That's crazy. I've never heard of it. He did not believe these words at all. In fact, he was not the only one. Most of the people who heard these words were skeptical, thinking that it was a rumor that came from nowhere. It's true. I'm not lying. Too many people saw this. They can all testify. That's right. I was there. Back then Wu Wuti was brutal. He was like an unparalleled demon. We were like ants in front of him. He could kill us with a single slap. At that time, there were hundreds of gangs, including the Black Tiger Gang, the Wolf Fang Gang, the Mammoth Gang, and other famous gangs. They were all famous forces in the low-level cities, and had countless subordinates. But they were all destroyed by Wu Wuti. If that's all there is to it, it wouldn't be a big deal. But that Wu Wuti is so arrogant that he didn't even return to the safe zone. Instead, he brought a group of children and a few girls to the gang's headquarters. He's going to flatten them. Many people came forward to testify that this matter was true. They were all involved, and they had seen Wu Wuti's rage with their own eyes. It had left a psychological scar on them. Are you kidding me? It's just one person. Even if he had a few girls and a group of kids, such a faction wants to flatten them. Do they think the gangs are pushovers? Do they not know how to kill people? Some people were dumbfounded. Of course the gangs are not pushovers. But Wu Wuti is a demon, a monster. How can we judge him with common sense? Someone sneered. The Wolf Fang Gang, the Black Tiger Gang, the Big Bear Gang, and the other gangs didn't believe it and wanted to resist. In the end, they were destroyed by Wu Wuti. Most of the gang was killed, and the gang leader was killed on the spot with a punch. Fortunately, this is the virtual world. Otherwise, it would have been a massacre. Even so, the treasures they painstakingly obtained from the Spirit Mountains were all snatched away by Wu Wuti. I heard that not even a blade of grass was left. It was like a hurricane sweeping through. He was very emotional. After all, the Wolf Fang Gang and the other gangs were famous in the low-level cities. They were the kind that people would tremble in fear at the mention of their name. Now they were so miserable. They were directly flattened by someone without the ability to fight back. That's right. In just 10 to 20 days, 108 gangs have been flattened by Wu Wuti. Any gang that heard the news of Wu Wuti's arrival was so scared that they packed up and fled. They didn't even dare to stop. He's so fierce. Oh my God, I thought he was just a liar. I didn't expect him to have such combat power. He dares to call himself Wu Wuti. How can he not have some skills? Some people speculate that he might be a direct descendant of some ancient family. He has an amazing inheritance. Or maybe he has cultivated some kind of treasure body. Some kind of treasure body? Yes. Someone once saw Wu Wuti control the trees within a radius of hundreds of miles on the battlefield. As if he was the ruler of wood. Some mighty figures guessed that this might be the legendary Azure Dharch body that has been lost for a long time. Azure Dharch body? Oh my God! Isn't that one of the strongest bodies in the universe? No wonder it's so terrifying. It's said that once he successfully cultivates it, he will be the master of all wood and have the ability to control all plants in the world. How can he be called one of the strongest treasure bodies if that's all he has? Commanding plants is only one of the abilities. Cultivating this body will increase the magic power in one's body by tens of times that of an ordinary person. Moreover, one will have endless magic power, extremely strong recovery ability, extremely strong vitality, and lifespan will also be several times that of cultivators of the same level. Damn, he's so abnormal. How can we fight him? That's why I said that Wu Wuti is a monster. It's impossible to gang up on him. You'll die before Wu Wuti's dermic powers are exhausted. His dermic powers are also dozens of times faster than ordinary cultivators. He's practically immortal. That's right. The Azure Dharch body also has the nickname of immortal. It's full of vitality. If you don't have the power to kill your opponent instantly, what awaits you is an endless nightmare. Everyone discussed and sighed. Many people were also shocked. They didn't expect Wu Wuti to have such a great background. He was a direct descendant of some ancient family and had condensed the azure Tharch body. No wonder he was so arrogant and called himself Wu Wuti. Without a doubt, cultivating such a body was equivalent to becoming a sage. The people of Far East City also knew about this. That bastard Wu Wuti. He's clearly a descendant of a large family, but he's still lying. He's shameless. That's right. To an ancient family, $1 billion universe dollars is nothing. It's just a drop in the bucket. How could he think so highly of it? Maybe this bastard has a bad taste. I've also heard that many direct descendants of ancient families have all kinds of strange hobbies. Some like to steal, some like to cut people down when they're bored, some like to strip naked to show off their muscles, and some like to flirt everywhere. This bastard Wu Wuti probably likes to lie. Damn, there's only one word to describe this kind of person. Despicable. This kind of bastard will be struck by lightning sooner or later. Just wait. Chapter 1345. Many large families in the 5 major galaxies had also heard of the news and the appearance of the azure Tharch body. Even for large families, the azure Tharch body was a rather terrifying constitution. It was the potential of becoming a sage. Of course, for some families, the involvement of Yi Jiejia and the others in this matter made them even more furious. Bastard! Why are these brats with that liar Wu Wuti again? They're actually gathering people to cause trouble. How can they be bandits and join forces with others to destroy a stronghold? What a scandal! Do they know how much trouble they've gotten themselves into? An elder was so angry that his beard curled up. Previously, I saw that they were very obedient, cultivating hard and attending classes seriously. I thought that they had changed. I taught them well, and I was more or less gratified. I didn't expect such a big thing to happen in the blink of an eye. An elder lamented and sighed. He felt that he had not taught them well. One moment of carelessness had caused this group of kids to cause trouble. It was really impossible to guard against it. How dare they? These kids get into trouble every day without a beating. When they come back, I'll definitely teach them a good lesson. Damn it, didn't they say that they were studying seriously? Why did they go into the virtual network again? Now that it's summer break, they're causing trouble everywhere. How can we not worry? It must be Wu Wuti's instigation. They've all been led astray by that hateful liar. What does that bastard want to do? Does he want us descendants to be his lackeys? In his dreams. Even if he's from an ancient family, he's not qualified to have our descendants be his lackeys. He's blinded by lard. If we catch that Wu Wuti, we'll first capture him and beat him up. Who cares what family he's from? A group of old men gritted their teeth. They blamed Xia Ping for their obedient grandchildren's behavior. If it weren't for that bastard, their grandchildren would have been so cute, smart, and well-behaved. But once this guy appeared, he'd led their grandchildren astray and turned them all into little bandits. Master, many people have already complained about our family, saying that our children have stolen many of their things. They're asking for compensation, someone reported. The Wolf Fang Gang, the Black Tiger Gang, the Big Bear Gang, and the other gangs were all closely related to the major families of the 5 galaxies. They were actually the pawns of the major families. Most of the profits of these gangs were taken away by the big families. Now that such a thing had happened, some families knew the identity of the group of children and wanted to seek compensation from the Yi family and the other families. Compensate my ass. Wu Wuti was the one who did this. If you have the guts, go and ask him for compensation. It has nothing to do with me. My grandson was forced to go in there. Many old men were furious when they heard this. That person had a strange expression on his face. Elder. But according to our intelligence, the young master and the little princesses seemed to have contributed quite a bit as well. They were the ones who were the most active in transporting the treasures and raiding the houses. This is especially true when it comes to snatching spiritual herbs. He would grab them one after another, and even hold one in his mouth. Many people have given them the nickname Little Devil. Many of the old men's faces turned green. It seemed that this group of little bastards had caused quite a bit of trouble this time. At this moment in a certain house in Far East City, Xiaoping, Jiang Yaru Chu Rong, Yuqiqi Suji, Yi Jejia, and the other brats were also here. Right now, they had attacked 108 gangs, and were holding a meeting to divide the spoils. He handed it over to Corinne to count. He discovered that this time, he had robbed too many treasures. A large number of spiritual herbs, artifacts, secret manuals, and so on. If he sold them, he would be able to get at least 10 billion universe dollars. That was a huge sum of money. Yes, this time we had a great harvest. Through fighting against crime, robbing the rich to help the poor, and other righteous actions, we raked in a large amount of ill-gotten wealth. This has my credit, and also everyone's credit. Xiaoping coughed and gave an impassioned speech. He looked at Yi Jejia and the other children. Originally, you should have been able to get more, but seeing that you are still young, if we give you too much at once, you will spend money recklessly, which will have a bad effect on your future. You will develop the habit of spending money extravagantly, and become the kind of rice worms who only know how to eat, drink, and be merry. So this time, we won't give you too much. Then how much can we get? Yi Jejia asked excitedly. 10 million universe dollars per person. Xiaoping stretched out a finger. There were 30 children present, and each of them got 10 million. That was 300 million, which was just a drop in the ocean compared to 10 billion. Wow, 10 million universe dollars, how much is that? How many zeros? I can't even count them. A little Loli excitedly counted her fingers, but after counting a few fingers, she couldn't even count them. She was a little confused. Great, 10 million universe dollars, that's more than my New Year's money. How many toys can I buy with this? This time, I want to buy 3. 1 to throw away, 1 to collect, and 1 to show off. Haha. I want to treat the little flower from the next class to a movie and dinner. The kind that will book the whole place. Humph, this time. Let's see if mom and dad still dare to call me a prodigal daughter. Now I can also earn money. After going back, I want to eat ice cream until I'm full. What are you going to do with ice cream? I want to ask college students to help me with my summer homework. 1 for each of us. That's good, that's good. You're really too smart. This way, I don't need to do my summer homework. The group of children were extremely excited. Even though they came from big families, they were still young, and it was impossible for them to have too much financial power. 10 million was a huge sum of money to them. What about ours? Yuqiqi blinked her eyes and looked at Xiaoping expectantly. Yours? 10 million for one night. Xiaoping sized up Yuqiqi's figure and said with a smile. Pooey pervert. Yuqiqi was so angry that she bit down, but Xiaoping's body was too hard, and she couldn't bite through it. This made her even angrier. However, after some consideration, Xiaoping still gave Yuqiqi, Suji, Chu Rong, and Jiang Yaru 50 million universe dollars each. After all, they would need to go to Qingkuan sect in the future, and it wouldn't do if they didn't have money on them. They needed a certain amount of starting capital. Moreover, this bit of money was nothing to him, just a drop in the ocean. After dividing the spoils, Xiaoping bid farewell to Yi Jejia and the rest. Of course, before he left, he also returned all the money he had borrowed from them, which could be considered as clearing his debt. Goodbye, big brother. I'll miss you. Let's do this again in the future. Just you wait. We'll definitely become stronger. Yi Jejia and the rest also bid farewell to Xiaoping. After staying in the virtual world for so long, they were feeling a little tired. After saying their goodbyes one by one, they immediately logged off to rest. However, they didn't expect that right after logging off, they wouldn't be happy for long. Chapter 1346. A few hours later, Yi Jejia and the others were taught a harsh lesson by their families. They were ordered to stay at home obediently, and were not allowed to use the virtual equipment to enter the virtual network again. However, these big family elders were not happy at all. All of them were gloomy. It's over, it's all over. My grandson is too mischievous. I can't even discipline him now. When I first beat him up, he actually said that life is full of ups and downs. Don't bully the young for being poor. He even talked back to me. A white-haired old man gritted his teeth. My child is the same. When I beat him up, he should be jumping around in fear. But now he's not jumping. He's standing on the spot, shouting that if you make a mistake, you should admit it and stand up for it. It really pisses me off. Of all times to have a backbone, he just had to have it now. The other black-robed old man was also infuriated. You guys are lucky. My child was already shouting that if people don't offend me, I won't offend them. If people offend me, I'll be courteous. If people offend me again, I'll return the favor. If people offend me again, I'll kill them all. It's as if hitting him will make me irreconcilable. He's itching for a beating. I was so angry that I beat him up again. A bald old man was so angry that smoke was coming out of his nostrils. He felt that his family was unfortunate. Sigh, it's fine if that's the case. My granddaughter is still shouting that she wants to be the king of mountain bandits in the future and rob the rich to help the poor. An old woman said helplessly. Oh my God, my son said something similar. In the future, when he marries a wife, he won't chase after her. He'll snatch her. An old man in white gritted his teeth. He did not know what to say. He was speechless. It's the same, it's all the same. Where did they learn these words from? All of them are starting to be disobedient. It must be that bitch Wuxia. If it wasn't for this bastard's malicious instigation, why would our cute grandchildren become like this? It's all that bastard's fault. Damn that Wuxia. He's misleading the children. He better not let me find out his true identity. Otherwise, no matter where he is in the universe, I'll capture this bastard. Many of the elders gritted their teeth. They were completely furious. This bastard clearly knew that this group of children were still young and didn't understand anything. Yet he still instilled so many twisted theories into them. This was clearly trying to poison the future flowers of their family. His intentions were worthy of death. Without a doubt, it was all the fault of that liar Wuxia, that his obedient grandson had become like this. It was definitely that bastard's instigation. But that kid is like a loach, hiding his true appearance. It's very difficult to find him. Indeed, the universe is too big. Trying to find a person with little information is like looking for a needle in a haystack. Don't worry. This kid has cultivated the azure darch body and has the potential to become a saint. People like him will never be content with being alone. There will come a time when he will cause trouble in the real world. Indeed, it's impossible for him to stay in the virtual network forever. He will definitely appear in the various great universe secret realms. Once I see someone using the azure darch body, there's no doubt that it's Wuxia. This kind of talent is rare. If we see one, we'll just capture one. They immediately gave the order to use their family's power to drag Wuxia out. They believed that with their influence, as long as there was any news about that kid, he would definitely not be able to escape their investigation. At the same time, in the Yi family, Yi Mingyao was also furious with her sister, Yi Jejia. She had asked her sister not to continue staying with that liar, Wuxia, lest she be negatively affected. However, she never expected that her sister, who had always been obedient and clever, would actually reject her. She even said that she was a bad sister and did not want to play with her anymore. She immediately locked her in her room. Damn Wuxia, it's all this bastard's fault. Yi Mingyao gritted her teeth. She had always had a good relationship with her sister, and they had never quarreled. This was the first time her sister had quarreled like this since she was born. Without a doubt, this Wuxia was trying to drive a wedge between them. He was a demon. He actually cultivated the azure darch body. That's good, that's really good. This way, you definitely won't be able to escape. Yi Mingyao clenched her fists, her beautiful eyes revealing a murderous look. If that Wuxia was just an ordinary person without any talent, then in the vast universe, with billions of planets and countless humans, it would be too difficult to find someone who deliberately hid himself. Even a saint might not be able to find him. However, if the other party had special characteristics, then it would be much easier to find him. In particular, the azure darch body was one of the strongest physiques in the universe. It was rare in the world, and there were not many who had it. It was too easy to find such obvious characteristics. It could be said that once news of the azure darch body appeared somewhere, then Wuxia would definitely be there. There was no doubt. This was much better than searching around aimlessly. But since he is a genius who can condense the azure Dharch body, why did he destroy his own cultivation to enter the novice village? Isn't that stupid? Yi Mingyao suddenly thought of some doubts. No, he might not have destroyed his own cultivation. Perhaps he sealed his own cultivation to enter the novice village, just like I did back then. But why did he enter this novice village? Does he want to do something bad to my Yi family? Does he want to harm Yi Jiejia? What is his purpose? The more she thought about it, the more she felt endless doubts. No matter how she thought about it, she could not understand it. Forget it, I won't think about it anymore. When I catch this bitch and torture her, I will find out. Yi Mingyao was full of murderous intent. At this moment, Xia Ping had returned to the real world and was sitting in the quiet room of the villa on the giant island. Rumble, he was devouring a large number of elixirs obtained from the virtual world. Majestic spiritual energy poured into his body from the void. His body was like a furnace, quickly refining the elixirs. In the depths of the purple mansion space, the sea churned. The sea water, formed by magic power, was increasing at a speed visible to the naked eye. With a crashing sound, the sea area also expanded a little. After this battle, Xia Ping's understanding of the treasure refining realm became deeper. At the same time, he devoured a large number of elixirs, which also made his cultivation greatly improved. His magic power cultivation suddenly rose to the peak of the early treasure refining realm. Xia Ping sensed that he seemed to have touched a bottleneck. As long as he broke through, he would be able to advance to the middle stage of the treasure refining realm. At this time, the system's voice sounded. Congratulations to the host. This time you have attracted a large number of hatred points, a total of 1.3 billion hatred points. I hope you will continue to work hard. Chapter 1347. Distant Fire Forging Art. I wonder what kind of forging art it is. Ignoring the system, Xia Ping took out a jade slip, which he had obtained from the virtual world. It recorded the distant fire forging art. Countless people had fought over it, and it was extremely precious. In order to fight for this secret technique, countless people had died. It would not be an exaggeration to say that blood flowed like a river. Of course, even without his appearance, there would still be a bloodbath in the virtual world. After all, the distant fire forging art was too precious. No one would let it fall into the hands of others. Distant fire forging art? How mysterious. Xia Ping held the jade slip tightly and probed it with his divine sense. Immediately, a majestic wave of information surged in. He immediately sensed that a refining room had appeared in the depths of his sea of consciousness. A red-haired old man appeared in it. He was covered in muscles, and a flame appeared in his hand. It was the distant fire. Under the red-haired old man's control, the heavenly fire changed into various shapes. He was simply an ancestor of playing with fire. He could control it freely, and it depended on his heart. Countless refining materials rapidly melted under the burning of the flame. The red-haired old man's technique was like a music conductor, full of artistic beauty. After a while, a magic treasure was quickly formed. I see. Xia Ping came to a sudden realization. He somewhat understood the profoundness of this forging technique. By using the power of the unusual flame to smelt all kinds of refining materials, then using an exquisite technique to engrave a large formation on the magic treasure to bestow spirituality. The key to this forging art was the power of the distant fire. Without a heavenly fire like the distant fire, many refining materials could not be melted. To learn this forging art, one had to capture a heavenly fire and integrate it into one's body. This alone had blocked many people's paths. After all, it was extremely difficult to use a heavenly fire. If ordinary people came into contact with it, they would most likely be burned alive by the heavenly fire. However, this was extremely simple for Xia Ping. He had 5 heavenly fires, which completely met the cultivation requirements. Although they were not distant fires, they were still considered heavenly fires and had the same effect. However, apart from possessing a heavenly fire, it was not easy to learn the forging art. One had to learn various basic arrays. If one did not even understand the knowledge of array formations, it would be impossible to refine a magic weapon. This jade slip also contained a large amount of array formation knowledge. After a careful calculation, there were at least 108,000 basic array formations. Among them, there were array formations related to the 5 elements, star array formations, spatial array formations, bewildering array formations, illusion array formations, and so on. Each array formation was extremely complex and abstruse, equivalent to a profound math problem. Ordinary people would have a headache just by looking at a formation, as they would not be able to understand it at all. If he wanted to learn all of them, he would need at least 10,000 years. And he would also need to be talented. It was just like mathematics. If you didn't have the talent, you wouldn't be able to learn it even if you had 100 years. However, if he took out this kind of array formation knowledge and let those array formation grandmasters see it, they would definitely all go wild with joy. If they could obtain a treasure, this was a precious knowledge that couldn't be bought with money. There were some formations that even the Qianquan sect didn't have. They were all created by ancestor Li Hua. No wonder it's so difficult to become a refiner. Even after advancing to the treasure refining realm, there aren't many who can become a refiner. I didn't expect it to be so difficult to refine a magic weapon. Xiaoping also sighed with emotion. If an ordinary person wanted to become a refiner, they first needed to have talent. Without talent, they couldn't even enter the door. However, having talent was only the beginning. After that, they needed to go through years of training. They needed to understand all kinds of array knowledge. In addition, they also needed to refine materials, know the ratio of various materials, and so on. Only after mastering this knowledge could they be considered to have graduated. The problem was that after mastering all of this knowledge, it would take many years. Therefore, the growth of every refiner master required years of accumulation and a large amount of resources. Without the support of super forces, wanting to become a refiner grandmaster was simply a dream. Fortunately, I have the system. Otherwise, I don't know how long it would take to learn these array knowledge. Xiaoping touched his chin. He immediately asked the system how much hatred was needed to learn these array knowledge. Host, you need 2 billion hatred points. The system replied. What? Why is it so expensive? It's several times more expensive than learning a martial arts magical power? Xiaoping was surprised. The system replied. That's to be expected. Every single formation is extremely complicated, even if it's a basic formation, and there are a total of 108,000 basic formations. If one wants to learn all of them, even a monstrous genius would need 1,000 years. Xiaoping touched his chin and thought about it. If ordinary people wanted to learn these array knowledge, it would take too long. He could master it in an instant. 2 billion hatred points were nothing at all. Okay, exchange. Thinking of this, he immediately exchanged. Rumble, in an instant, a larger amount of information than the jade slip just now poured into Xiaoping's mind. This was simply enlightening, directly imprinting the answer in the depths of his soul. At this moment, his power of understanding had increased by countless times. He was like an array formation grandmaster, looking down from a strategically advantageous position and quickly comprehending the 108,000 basic array formation knowledge. And this infusion took 3 days and 3 nights. So that's how it is. After the infusion, Xiaoping's eyes showed a glimmer of light. There seemed to be a mysterious array spinning in the depths of his pupils, and his body exuded an inexplicable aura, slightly triggering the power of heaven and earth, causing the world to tremble. After being instilled by the system and learning 108,000 basic arrays, he suddenly had a thorough understanding of array knowledge and became a grandmaster of arrays. Of course, it was still impossible to become a grandmaster. After all, a grandmaster of arrays is not just learning basic arrays. People who reach this level can already modify arrays, and even create arrays, reaching the power to change the world. It's like the difference between a doctor of mathematics and a mathematician. One has only learned mathematical knowledge, while the other can leave his name in history. But even so, Xiaoping was very familiar with all kinds of formations. He also knew the origin of the array. It was not created by humans, but a wave of power that existed in nature, a kind of field, a kind of natural power. And humans, or the powerful creatures of the universe, through the observation of nature. Humans follow the laws of heaven and earth, the laws of heaven and earth, the laws of the earth, the laws of nature. It can be said that the array is the power from heaven and earth. Therefore, countless powerful creatures in the universe will comprehend the array of heaven and earth, and turn it into their own use, or integrate it into their own body, or affect heaven and earth, exerting several times, or even dozens of times their own power. Even powerful array grandmasters can use array knowledge to forcibly change the laws of heaven and earth. Chapter 1348. Several days later, Xiaoping walked around the giant island, surveying the terrain. Xiaoping, what are you doing? Xu Rong asked curiously. She had just come out of seclusion, and saw Xiaoping walking around the giant island, as if surveying the terrain. She followed him out of curiosity. Jiang Yaru, Su Ji and Qiqi did the same. They were all very curious about what Xiaoping was doing. They had also been in seclusion for the past few days. Because of the many battles in the virtual world, they had benefited greatly. Their potential had been completely stimulated, and their cultivation had advanced by leaps and bounds. They had reached the late Violet Palace realm in an instant. It seemed that before long, they would be able to step into the fulfillment realm. The reason why they had improved so quickly was related to the large amount of spiritual medicines they had consumed in the True Dragon Lair. Their bodies had accumulated a large amount of medicinal energy that they hadn't developed before. Now that they had been stimulated, they immediately advanced by leaps and bounds. Their cultivation also advanced by leaps and bounds. I'm setting up a formation to test out what I've learned. Xiaoping said. Test out a formation? Could it be that you've learned the distant fire forging art? Jiang Yaru was a bit surprised. Of course she knew about the distant fire forging art. It had caused quite a stir in the virtual world, and countless people had wanted to fight over it. But she also knew that the more powerful a secret art was, the more difficult it was to cultivate. It had only been a few days, but he had actually learned it. This was a bit too fast. I finally found it. Xiaoping didn't reply. He just smiled. After observing the giant island for a while, he had finally found the 8 nodes of the island. They were the key to setting up the formation. Whoosh! With a flip of his hand, he immediately took out a piece of top-grade jade stone. Then, he circulated his qi like a knife, engraving runes on the surface of the jade stone. The runes were densely packed, and the lines crisscrossed like a spider's web. What is this? Su Ji and the others looked over curiously, but as soon as they did, they immediately felt dizzy. Incomparably complex, majestic, and chaotic information flooded into their minds like a tide. They could sense that these runes seemed to contain a mysterious power. After being arranged by Xiaoping, they seemed to resonate with the natural qi. However, because the information was too complicated, they didn't dare to look at it again after just one glance. Xiaoping personally came to a qi meridian node, dug up the soil, and buried these jade stones. He circulated the boundless magic power in his body, and began to guide the mysterious energy of this terrain. Immediately, these jade stones emitted a dazzling radiance with spirituality. They were like countless stars in the sky, flickering incessantly. Bursts of special energy waves came from the air, as if forming an energy tide. So comfortable. Su Ji and the others were surprised. They felt the tide of energy surging towards them, forming a strange vibration. It was as if the power of heaven and earth was massaging their bodies, combing their meridians. At the same time, they also discovered that the heaven and earth spiritual qi in this place had become much denser. Xiaoping, are you setting up a spirit gathering formation? Jiang Yaru seemed to have discovered something. That's right, it's a spirit gathering formation. Xiaoping nodded. He didn't stop and continued to move towards the next 7 qi vein nodes. He placed the pieces of jade in his hand into each of the nodes. These jade stones were all engraved with array formations and talismans. When the 8 nodes were all set up, the heaven and earth spiritual qi was immediately drawn. With the giant island as the center, the heaven and earth spiritual qi within a 5,000-kilometer radius of the sea, whether it was in the sky or in the depths of the sea, crazily rushed over. It was as if the giant island had turned into a whirlpool, or a giant beast, greedily swallowing the heaven and earth spiritual chi into the island. Immediately, the array was set up. Vaguely, the giant island seemed to be covered by a huge energy barrier, forming a unique space with the power of the array formation. In the sky above the giant island, because of the large amount of heaven and earth spiritual chi gathered together, it actually transformed into a heaven and earth spiritual chi dragon, soaring in the sky. And this change was naturally sensed by the countless martial artists on the giant island. What's going on? Why did the heaven and earth spiritual chi suddenly go berserk? Some of the evolved Jing masters were very sensitive to the heaven and earth spiritual chi. My God, it's not a riot. It's just that the heaven and earth spiritual chi has increased, and it's increasing at a crazy rate. Some evolved Jing masters cried out in surprise. Damn it, why is it suddenly raining? Some people suddenly discovered that the originally clear and boundless sky was now covered in white clouds, and it was raining heavily. Bullshit. This isn't rain, it's spiritual liquid, because the heaven and earth spiritual chi is too dense. It has even turned into spiritual liquid. My God, what happened to the giant island? How did it suddenly turn into a paradise? A human king was also alarmed. He couldn't help but curse. This scene was too shocking. Even as a human king, he had never seen such a scene of spiritual liquid raining. Quickly go and collect the spiritual liquid. This is a once-in-a-blue-moon opportunity. A meat pie has fallen from the sky. The heavens are not unkind to us. Quickly grab the spiritual liquid. The countless human martial artists on the giant island went crazy. Every household took out their pots and pans, frantically collecting the spiritual liquid. One had to know that every drop was worth as much as gold. No, the spiritual liquid was even more precious than gold. It was a true hard currency. Walala, as the spiritual liquid dripped onto every inch of the giant island, the plants on the island also started to grow crazily. The trees that were originally dozens of years old suddenly grew to be hundreds of years old, reaching a height of 1,000 meters. Some of the flowers that were still seeds started to grow rapidly, cutting down a lot of time. They immediately bloomed, filling the air with a dense fragrance. The weeds also grew crazily, reaching a height of several meters. It was enough to submerge a person's head. A large number of animals also absorbed the spiritual liquid and seemed to have a trace of spiritual intelligence. In the future, they might even evolve into demons. In just 2 hours, the giant island seemed to have turned into a wild world. Lush and verdant plants were everywhere. Even though it was a city that looked like a steel jungle, the plants were still growing tenaciously. Between the cracks of the floor, inside the potted plants, and even on the roof, a large number of plants were growing. How is this spirit-gathering formation so powerful? Su Ji and the others were dumbfounded. Originally, the giant island was just an ordinary island. Even if the heaven and earth spiritual chi was dense, it wasn't much more than other places. But now that Xia Ping had arranged this formation, it had suddenly turned into a paradise-level cultivation treasure land. Such a method was no different from changing the heavens and earth. Was this the power of a formation? Of course, it's not an ordinary spirit-gathering formation. It's an 8-level spirit-gathering formation. Among the many spirit-gathering formations, it's a top-notch formation. Xia Ping smiled faintly. Ancestor Li Hua was a saint-level weaponsmithing grandmaster. Even if he had only left behind some basic formations, it was still a top-notch basic formation. It wasn't something that those crudely made formations could compare to. Chapter 1349. After that, Xia Ping did not stop because he still had many formations that needed to be verified. As the saying went, true knowledge came from practice. Even if one knew the theory, it would only be an armchair strategist without actual practice. Only by actually setting up formations could one truly master them. However, Giant Island had already set up the 5-element spirit-gathering formation, so Xia Ping went to other islands to set up different formations. This matter was quickly made known to the upper echelons of the world government. They were ecstatic and immediately invited Xia Ping to go to the major human islands to set up formations. They were even willing to provide a large number of jade stones and manpower. After all, the changes on Giant Island were so shocking that even human monarchs were envious. Now Giant Island had become the most important cultivation holy land for humans. The housing prices on Giant Island had also increased by several times. Many people from large families had moved here. After all, cultivating here was like traveling 1,000 miles in a day and getting twice the results with half the effort. Of course, Xiaoping did not refuse. With the help of the world government, he did not know how much time and effort could be saved. He was also happy to cooperate with the federal government and make the entire Cloud Realm his experimental base. As Xiaoping set up the Spirit Gathering Formation, he also discovered that not every place was suitable for the Octopole Spirit Gathering Formation. Often, the Spirit Gathering Formation needed to be adapted to the local conditions. The reason why Giant Island was suitable for the Octopole Spirit Gathering Formation was that there were 8 spirit veins nearby. Therefore, the formation could be set up to receive the 8 spirit veins. However, some places only had 1 spirit vein or 3 or 4 spirit veins, which required different spirit gathering formations. However, formation grandmasters were different from Xiaoping. They did not need to adapt to the local conditions at all. They could rely on their own strength to change the sky and earth and build any formation they wanted. Xiaoping had not reached this level yet, so he could only adapt to the local conditions. 1 month later, because Xiaoping was setting up formations everywhere, the entire Cloud Realm had undergone earth-shattering changes. On some islands, he had set up a fog formation that filled a radius of 100 miles. Even the magnetic field was disturbed. Spaceships that entered the formation would lose their way. This place was also labeled as a forbidden area by the sea demons who did not know about it, and called it the Fog Island. Some of the islands had constructed a maze array. It was as if any living creature that entered this place would enter a maze. If there was no one in charge of the array to rescue them, they would be trapped in the maze for the rest of their lives. Sometimes he would head to a human city in the western region's desert and build a wild sand formation that could gather the power of the wild sand. It was a heaven and earth killing formation, and even kings would be killed if they entered. He also went deep into the savage forest and built a wood spirit formation in a human city. It could control the plants within a radius of several hundred miles and circulate the wood energy of heaven and earth. Even if it faced an army of thousands, it would be able to resist. The appearance of these arrays also shocked countless monsters and sea demons. It seemed that the defense level of the human cities had also increased by a level, becoming even more terrifying. If there were any reckless demons that dared to barge in, they would definitely die. I finally mastered it. At this moment, Xiaoping had returned to the villa on the giant island. When he opened his eyes, a mysterious glow could be seen. After a month of practice, and with the help of the human government, he had constructed up to 1,000 arrays. Even though they were all basic arrays, Xiaoping had learned a lot from them and had truly grasped the mysteries of arrays. If he were to be described as a mere theoretical master in the past who knew the relevant knowledge, things were completely different now. As long as he willed it, he could set up all sorts of arrays and manipulate the power of heaven and earth. Furthermore, due to his improvement in the realm of arrays, the powers in his body had also grown by leaps and bounds as well. His control over his powers had become smoother as well, reaching the state of perfection. Seems like the next step will be to forge a life treasure. The reason why Xiaoping wanted to familiarize himself with all sorts of arrays was because he wanted to forge a life treasure that belonged to him. All the truly top-notch powerful beings would have their own life treasure. A life treasure like this would be compatible with one's soul, and would usually be able to unleash power that was several times stronger than normal life treasures. This was something akin to a trump card. Furthermore, life treasures had the ability to grow and could evolve along with one's evolution. Take the Pearl of Mountain and River for example. It was once the life treasure of the Mountain River Saint. It was extremely powerful and had brought him countless benefits. However, I don't seem to have enough materials on me. Xiaoping touched his chin. It was not that he didn't have enough materials. He had plundered the wealth of so many people, and the Pearl of Mountain and River had already stored a lot of rare ores and various materials. However, these materials were still not strong enough for him to forge a powerful enough life treasure. He still needed the core of a life treasure, and this core had to be rare in the universe and had the ability to grow. Unfortunately, he didn't have such a thing on him. Seems like I still have to go to the universe and search for some precious ores or special materials. Xia Ping thought about it and felt that he probably wouldn't be able to find materials suitable for forging a life treasure in the cloud realm. So he had to go to the universe. Beep beep. At this moment his communicator rang. Is it Feng Hatong? Xia Ping glanced at it casually and realized that it was actually his loyal little brother, Feng Hatong. Speaking of which, he hadn't seen Feng Hatong for a long time. With a snap, he connected the communicator, and Feng Hatong's chubby figure immediately appeared in front of him. Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. He realized that Feng Hatong had also improved at a godly speed. With the 5-element spirit fruit that Xia Ping had bestowed, Feng Hatong advanced triumphantly and spent a year to advance to the early stage of the Purple Mansion realm. He was already considered a ruler of the human race. Boss, please allow me to follow you to the universe. Feng Hatong went straight to the point and directly stated the purpose of his call. He looked at Xia Ping with a fanatical expression. Go to the universe. Are you willing to leave the cloud realm? Xia Ping asked. He knew that with Feng Hatong's current strength and the forces that he controlled, he could definitely make a name for himself in the cloud realm. But if he were to go to the universe, he would have to completely abandon all these riches and gamble with his life. After all, his strength was just like an ant in the universe. Of course, I have already decided. If I continue to stay in the cloud realm, I will just be a salted fish. I will still have meat to eat if I follow boss. Feng Hatong had already thought it through. Only by hugging onto Xia Ping's thigh would he have the hope of advancing to the next level. Moreover, the cloud realm was no longer the same as before. It had begun to make contact with the universe. In time, the divine ability realm cultivators would just be ordinary martial artists. If he continued to stay in the cloud realm, he would definitely be abandoned by the era. It would be impossible for him to enjoy a comfortable life, even if he wanted to. This world wasn't a place where one could live a comfortable life just because they wanted to. Alright then, pack your luggage. We will depart in 3 days. Chapter 1350. 3 days later. Stars twinkled in the universe. The starry universe was sailing in space. Its appearance had changed to that of an ordinary spaceship. If it did not explode with power, no one would know that it was a Saint-grade spaceship. This was the concealment ability of a Saint-grade spaceship. Therefore, Xia Ping was very relaxed as he drove the spaceship around. At this moment, in a restaurant inside the spaceship, Jiang Yaru, Chu Rong, Su Ji, Yu Qiqi, and Feng Hatong were enjoying a delicious lunch. Naturally, Xia Ping was also there. Fatty Feng, I didn't think that a coward like you would dare to leave the cloud world. I really have a whole new level of respect for you. Chu Rong took a small steamed bun and stuffed it into her mouth. She looked at Feng Hatong curiously. She didn't expect this fatty to leave with them. I am Big Brother's #1 follower. Wherever Big Brother goes, I will naturally follow. Even if I have to go through water and tread on fire, I will not hesitate. This is nothing, Feng Hatong said righteously and patted his chest to show his loyalty. But in reality, he had already weighed the risks of this journey. First, he knew that Xia Ping had a firm foothold in the universe and seemed to have become a disciple of a saint-grade sect. He was even accepted as a personal disciple by a saint. With such an identity, one could tell how amazing it was. It was an incomparably thick leg. As long as he could hold on to this leg, even if it was a dangerous alien world, he would not be in any danger. Otherwise, he would not leave the cloud world, even if he was beaten to death. But of course, he would not say these words out loud. You really know how to flatter. Yu Qiqi looked at Feng Hatong with disdain. She took a piece of half-cooked cheesecake. Right, Xia Ping. Is our destination this time heaven and earth sect? Jiang Yaru asked. No, before returning to Heaven and Earth sect, we first have to go to one of the Red Scarf Pirates' lair, Xiaoping said. Yu Qiqi's beautiful eyes widen. What? The Red Scarf Pirates' lair? Are you crazy? Aren't they all space pirates, the vicious kind? Isn't going to their lair suicide? When Feng Hatong heard these words, he was also scared out of his wits and trembled incessantly. He had already started to feel that he had boarded a pirate ship. After all, everyone knew about the Red Scarf Bandits' ferocious reputation. The aliens who invaded the Sky Realm were this group of interstellar bandits. If Xiaoping had not appeared out of nowhere, the creatures of the Cloud Realm would have been exterminated by the Red Scarf Bandits. They might even have been captured and sold to other planets as slaves. Even if the Red Scarf Pirates' invasion fleet was destroyed by Xiaoping, it did not mean that the Red Scarf Pirates were not terrifying. The other parties still had a terrifying strength. There are a lot of good things in that lair. I want to take some back to supplement my household expenses. You guys know that I have been very poor recently. Xiaoping had long coveted the Red Scarf Thief's crystal fragrant rice and 9 heaven growing soil. In particular, the 9 heaven growing soil was one of the most important treasures needed to repair the bead of mountains and rivers. As long as he could obtain it, the bead of mountains and rivers would be able to repair a portion of its power. The space within the bead of mountains and rivers would also slowly recover into a true spatial world. Previously, because of various delays, he delayed his plan to go to a secret base of the Red Scarf Bandits. However, now that everything was ready, if he did not go now, when would he take action? Su Ji looked at Xiaoping with disdain. Who doesn't know what you have done recently? Flattening mountains and strongholds, annihilating hundreds of gangs, plundering countless riches, and earning up to 10 billion universe dollars. If such a person were to complain about being poor, then the world would be full of paupers. It was clear that this guy had his eyes on the Red Scarf Bandits' treasures. That was why he made this operation. However, she also knew Xiaoping's character. As long as this bastard decided on something, no one could stop him. Yes, we seem to have arrived. Xiaoping subconsciously looked at the outer space. Suddenly, the myriad stars trembled. After the space jump, they appeared in another part of the starry sky. This part of the starry sky had already left the Qingquan sect's 6 major starfields. It had arrived at a part of the starry sky without any records. As expected of a Saint-class spaceship, its speed is too fast. Xiaoping sighed. If it was the previous spaceship, they might not be able to reach this place even if they flew for a month. However, with the myriad stars space jump, it only took them 1 day to arrive. Its speed was many times faster than before. According to the Starry Sky navigation map, the planet in front should be a secret base of the Red Scarf Bandits. Corinne's voice came out. He was the one controlling the spaceship. Secret base? Why are there so many spaceships entering and leaving this planet? Xiaoping looked outside. He discovered that the planet was sparkling and translucent like a crystal. There were many spaceships around it. It seemed like a bustling commercial planet with countless people entering and exiting. At this moment, the myriad stars was hidden in the void, as if it was in an invisible state. No radar technology could detect its existence. It was like nothingness. He was very puzzled. If this was the secret base of the Red Scarf Bandits, everyone should be prohibited from entering and exiting at will. Otherwise, the real secret of the Red Scarf Bandits would be exposed. Could it be that treasures like the 9 heaven living soil and crystal fragrant rice don't exist on this planet? If that was the case, this trip would be in vain. Don't worry, I want to search for some information, Corinne said in a deep voice. He immediately started the smart brain system, and a wave was transmitted. It was like an ultrasonic wave, spreading to a radius of 10 light years, and continuously collecting electromagnetic waves in the void. Any information exchanged in this starry sky could not stop his exploration. He was even invading the network in this area to collect all kinds of information. After a while, Corinne spoke again. I know, this is a lawless planet ruled by the Red Scarf Bandits. Crystal Planet. Lawless planet? Xiaoping looked at Corinne. The so-called lawless planet is a lawless zone in the universe. This place is a paradise for criminals. No country or force can enter this place. Corinne explained. Xiaoping nodded. He also understood what kind of place Crystal Planet was. It was a hotbed of crime. In the universe, wanted criminals, interstellar pirates, murderers, thieves, robbers, and other people who had nowhere to go would gather on the lawless planet. This place had a place for them. Moreover, a large number of criminals would also gather on this planet to trade and exchange various resources they needed. Because they were lawless and unscrupulous, a large number of good things would appear on the lawless planet. Even the people of the big forces would be tempted and go to the lawless planet to trade. Chapter 1351. In that case, doesn't this planet have no crystal fragrant rice? And we came to the wrong place. Xiaoping frowned. Not necessarily. Corinne said. The so-called small hidden in the mountain, the big hidden in the city. Perhaps the red scarf thieves are secretly hiding in the dark, deliberately treating this place as a lawless planet to deceive people. After all, no one can imagine that such a lawless planet actually hides treasures like crystal fragrant rice and 9 heaven-growing soil. This is a blind spot. Moreover, the area of this planet is also very large. Even if a part of it has been developed into a commercial city, a considerable part of the area can be used as a cultivation base. There is a certain possibility that crystal fragrant rice can be grown on this planet. It voiced out its conjecture. Xiaoping nodded. He also agreed with Corinne's words. More importantly, whether this planet really hides crystal fragrant rice or not, he only needs to go to this crystal planet to investigate it. But this is a lawless planet, and only those criminals are allowed to enter. So we must disguise as interstellar pirates or other criminals. Otherwise, I'm afraid we will be attacked before we get close. Corinne gave his opinion. This is simple. Xiaoping has some disguise masks on him, and he can completely disguise as an interstellar pirate. Moreover, the appearance and interior of the Multitude Star can also be changed at will. This is the power of a Saint-class spaceship. I believe that with the means of those red scarf thieves, they won't be able to find anything fishy about the Multitude Star. A few minutes later, the Multitude Star arrived at Crystal Planet's aviation port and landed. Immediately, Xiaoping had just stepped out of the hatch when a team of law enforcers immediately came up to question him. Obviously, even if it is a lawless planet, there is a certain degree of order in this place. After all, if it is too chaotic and lawless, even criminals will not come here. Sometimes chaos and order are also unified. Who are you people? What are you doing on Crystal Planet? A law enforcer came up to question him. We are all wanted criminals from all over the universe, the very vicious kind. This time, we came to Crystal Planet to make a deal, Xiaoping said carelessly, indicating that he is very vicious and not to be underestimated. The surrounding law enforcers were speechless. This is the first time they heard someone say that he is very vicious. This is too shameless. Isn't this bragging? Without a doubt, these people were definitely rookies. That was why they emphasized that they were fierce. However, the law enforcer didn't care about such things. He said, I don't care where you are a criminal from. In short, this is the Crystal Planet. Even if you're a tiger, you'd better lie low. Anyone who dares to cause trouble here won't live to see the sunrise tomorrow. Also, if you want to enter the Crystal Planet, you have to pay an entry tax. It's based on the number of people, 1,000 universe credits per person. His tone was vicious. What? Hearing this, Feng Hatong's expression changed. He had learned some information about Crystal Planet from Xiaoping. Everyone who enters Crystal Planet has to pay 100 universe credits at most. Why do we have to pay 1,000 universe credits here? That's 10 times the amount. Are you trying to scam us? He felt that this group of people clearly saw that they were easy to bully and wanted to rip them off. Impudent. The law enforcer shouted angrily. The entry tax of 100 universe dollars was yesterday. From today onwards, everyone must pay 1,000 universe dollars to enter. If you don't pay, scram immediately and leave Crystal Planet. However, if you want to cause trouble here, we'll let you people know what it means to live a life worse than death. His tone was extremely tyrannical. If they didn't comply, they would chase Xiaoping and the others away. If they dared to resist, they would immediately kill them. There was no room for discussion. You guys. Feng Hatong and the others clenched their teeth. This group of people clearly treated them as fat sheep and wanted to rip them off. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes, revealing a dangerous glint. However, he didn't plan to make a move. He had come to Crystal Planet to investigate the existence of the 9-heaven-growing soil and the crystal-fragrant rice. Now wasn't the time to cause trouble. However, he would remember this matter. No one could extort him without paying a price. Wait. Suddenly, a voice came from the side. Immediately, a young man wearing a luxurious suit walked over. This young man didn't seem to have a simple identity. He was either rich or noble. There were dozens of attendants following him. He walked with majestic steps and was filled with killing intent. He was like a big shot. Moreover, these attendants were very powerful. They were at least at the divine realm. There was even a silver-haired old man at the artifact refinement realm. He revealed an amiable expression, as if he was harmless. Young Master Su. Seeing this young man appear, those law enforcers were like mice that had seen a cat. All of them were scared like quails and hurriedly revealed flattering expressions. You guys are a bit too much. This young Master Su said indifferently. Although Crystal Planet is a lawless planet, there are still rules. In fact, the rules are ironclad laws. No one can violate them. Otherwise, who would come to our Crystal Planet? The entry fee is 100. You guys actually dare to raise it to 1,000? You guys sure have guts to cheat us in front of our faces. Although this sentence was very soft, it scared the law enforcer so much that he immediately knelt down. His face was filled with fear. I'm sorry, young Master Su. I was wrong. Please spare my life. Please spare my life. I was just blinded by lard. I only dared to do this because I saw that they were easy to bully. Please spare me this once. If you spare me this once, I will definitely sacrifice my life for young Master Su in the future. He frantically kowtowed on the ground, to the point that his forehead was bleeding. Even his body was trembling. The surrounding law enforcers didn't dare to plead for mercy. They knew how ruthless this young Master Su was. How can there be peace without rules? Young Master Su said indifferently, your actions are neither big nor small. You can be spared from death, but you can't escape punishment. Break an arm as a warning to others. If you do it again, kill you and feed you to the dogs. With a smack, that law enforcer was overjoyed. He immediately took out a sharp knife from his waist and chopped off his left arm. Large amounts of blood flowed out. But even so, he felt a sense of relief after surviving a disaster. Because most of those who fell into young Master Su's hands were worse off than dead. My apologies, sir. Young Master Su ignored these law enforcers. Instead, he turned to Xiaoping and said politely, this is due to our negligence in management. That's why this kind of extortion happened. This is due to our improper education. Chapter 1352. You're too polite. Xiaoping nodded but didn't say anything. He looked at this young Master Su indifferently. This young man wasn't simple. His cultivation was unfathomable, at least above the treasure refining realm. He knew that there was no such thing as a free lunch in this world, and there was no need to suddenly show concern for no reason. This young Master Su must have come here with a request. Extortion like this had happened countless times. Perhaps it was a common practice on this lawless planet. But this young Master Su just had to do it now. It was strange no matter how he thought about it. Moreover, he had the telepathy art, so he could feel a trace of evil hidden in the depths of this young Master Su's heart. It was extremely dark and deep, unknown to anyone. Young Master Su smiled faintly. I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Su Liangyin, one of the managers of this lawless planet. If there's anything you need help with, feel free to ask. Master Wu. Xiaoping gave a fake name. Coming to this lawless planet, revealing his real name was a stupid thing to do. So it's Mr. Wu, nice to meet you. Young Master Su suddenly looked at Jiang Yaru and the others behind Xiaoping. His eyes revealed a trace of unknown light. Oh right, Mr. Wu. I don't know if you're interested in selling these 4 girls behind you. If Mr. Wu is willing, I can pay a very high price. I guarantee you'll be satisfied. What? Jiang Yaru and the others were shocked, then angry. This guy actually wanted to buy them? Who did he think they were? Not selling, they're not girls. Xia Ping looked at young Master Su indifferently. Not selling? Is there a problem with the price? If Mr. Wu is willing to part with them, I can pay 100 million universe dollars for each one. What do you think? Su Liangyin said his price, still not giving up. 400 million universe dollars. Hearing this, not only the law enforcers, but even the followers beside him were shocked. 400 million universe credits was an astronomical figure. For ordinary slaves, a dozen universe dollars or 100 universe dollars were more than enough. But 400 million universe dollars was enough to buy a planet's slaves. In the universe, normal slaves were like weeds. They weren't worth much at all. Most of the time, they were half sold and half given. This price was too much, so much that their eyes widened. Not selling. Xia Ping only said 2 words. Could it be that the price is too low? If you're willing, I can raise the price a little more. What do you think of 500 million? Obviously, 400 million universe credits was not Su Liangyin's bottom line. He could go even higher. I said I'm not selling. Don't you understand human language? Xia Ping narrowed his eyes, revealing a trace of killing intent. Brat, don't push your luck. A follower immediately jumped out and scolded. Being too greedy will kill you. This is lawless planet. No one will care if you die, do you know that? He thought that Xia Ping was waiting for the right price. After all, it was 500 million universe credits. What was the point of selling a few slaves? Some people were even willing to kill their entire families for this amount of money. The others were also very dissatisfied with Xia Ping's attitude. They felt that this brat was a bit too much. Even if he was greedy, there was a limit. If he was too greedy, he would die very quickly. Young Master Su, I don't want your dog to come out and bark randomly. It will disturb others. Xia Ping said lightly. You. That follower went mad with anger. He felt that this fellow was too arrogant. He wanted nothing more than to pounce on him and bite him to death. Enough. Come back. Su Liangyin frowned and berated his follower. That follower was very unwilling, but he could only retreat. He then turned his head to look at Xia Ping. Forget it. Since Mr. Wu is unwilling, I won't force you. I hope Mr. Wu can have a good time on Crystal Planet. After all, this planet has many good things. He also didn't continue to force it. And then we'll meet again. Xia Ping nodded and left with Jiang Yaru and the others. They headed for the largest city of Crystal Planet, Crystal City. He didn't stay here. Nor did he care about those followers who wanted to eat him. Only when Xia Ping and the others disappeared from the port did the followers start talking. Boss, do you want me to chase after them and kill that brat? A follower's eyes flashed with a trace of coldness. He made a throat-cutting gesture. For murderers like them who were numb to killing a few people was really child's play. Forget it. Let's wait for a while. Let them live for a while. The most interesting part of hunting is the process, not the result. Where can they escape to if they stay on Crystal Planet? Su Liangyin faintly smiled like a poisonous snake. Boss, why do you want those female slaves? They are just ordinary slaves. Who knows how many you can buy with 10,000 universe dollars? To actually ask for 400 million, that's too exaggerated. Some people didn't understand Su Liangyin's price. Idiot. This price is obviously to bluff that brat. A follower beside him sneered. Even if that brat really agrees to this deal, he definitely won't get the money. He'll be a corpse the next day. Do you really think those women are worth that much? Isn't this a joke? He was very clear about Su Liangyin's personality. His favorite thing to do was to cheat others. Wanting him to be a spendthrift for a few 100 million universe dollars was absolutely impossible. So that's how it is. The group of followers suddenly came to a realization. No, those women have this kind of value. They are not ordinary women. Their bodies are very special and have a fragrance. Su Liangyin's eyes revealed a glimmer of light. They are very suitable to be my cauldrons. If I can catch these few, I will definitely be able to achieve great success in my limitless cauldron technique. He cultivated a demonic technique, limitless cauldron technique. He needed to capture 108 women with special physiques for dual cultivation and absorb the essence of these women to strengthen his strength. Often, the women who dual cultivated with him would die a violent death and turn into bones. This was a demonic technique. It was vicious and sinister. However, it was also very powerful. Once he successfully cultivated it, he would be able to condense a golden core and become a true golden core Taoist. Even among the Red Scarf Bandits, a golden core Taoist was also the strongest existence. Even the leader of the Red Scarf Bandits was only a golden core Taoist. In a sacred sect, he could also become an elder. This was the terror of the golden core realm. My prey can't escape. Su Liangying clenched his fist. For his cultivation, he must obtain these women. Whoever dared to stop him must die. As for that Master Mateto in his eyes, he was already a dead man. It was just a matter of how long it would take to kill him. Immediately go monitor them and report their whereabouts. If you find an opportunity, kill them. However, don't hurt those 4 women. They are my treasures. Su Liangying ordered. Yes, boss. Chapter 1353. Crystal City. This was the largest city on Crystal Planet. Countless people would come here to trade, which also brought great prosperity to this place. Countless spaceships would enter and leave this place. It could be said that this was the largest trading center, intelligence center, and economic center of Crystal Planet. As long as you had money, you could buy anything. However, those who entered this city for the first time were either interstellar pirates, or some devil, robber, murderer, swindler, and other criminals. All of them were vicious people. Walking in this place required extreme vigilance. Otherwise, no one would know if you were killed in an alley. At this moment, Xia Ping and the others had already arrived at Crystal City. I feel that Su Yinliang is not a good person. Chu Rong said. Of course. He thought we were girls and wanted to buy us. How could he be a good person? Yu Qiqi cursed. She was still very angry about what happened just now. A mermaid princess was almost sold as a slave. This was unprecedented. She wanted to slap Su Yinliang in the face. No, I don't think it's that simple. I feel that guy's eyes are filled with evil intentions. Perhaps he hasn't given up yet. Su Ji said worriedly. Indeed. He might still try to deal with us. We need to be careful. Jiang Yara nodded. The 4 of them had bathed in dragon blood before, which changed their bodies. They were very sensitive to the human heart. They could barely sense good and evil, as well as hostility. Therefore, when Su Liangying appeared, they had a bad feeling and immediately listed him as an enemy. That kid is really bad. He's like a poisonous snake. Although Feng Hatong did not have special senses like Jiang Yaru and the others, he came from a merchant family and had seen countless people. He even became the vice sect master of the Pingtian sect. He knew how to look at people. No matter how he looked at it, he felt that guy was someone who would seek revenge for the smallest grievance. This time, Xia Ping had rejected him, but he would definitely not let it go. He would definitely continue to come. Moreover, this was a planet. Anyone who came to this planet was not a good person. Don't worry. If he dares to come, we'll kill him. Xia Ping sneered. He actually dared to covet his woman. He was simply courting death. No matter where he came from, he would definitely die a horrible death if he angered him. Hearing this, Jiang Yaru and the others felt a lot more at ease. With Xia Ping here, they didn't need to worry about anything. But boss, where are we going now? Feng Hatong asked. Let's find a place and ask around. Xia Ping thought for a while, and immediately made a decision. The reason he came here was to find the 9 heaven-growing soil, and the fragrant crystal rice. Even if the red scarf thief covered up the news very well, it was not impossible that no one in the big crystal city knew about it. Let's go to Xiangyan restaurant. At this time, Corinne opened his mouth and said, Just now, I have been using radio waves to gather information. This place seems to be the largest intelligence organization in Crystal City, claiming that there is nothing they don't know. As long as you pay, you can get any information. Half an hour later, Xia Ping and the others took a taxi and quickly arrived at Xiangyun Restaurant. This place was located in the central area of Crystal City. The Auspicious Cloud Restaurant was a huge building made of reinforced concrete. It was 36 stories high, and there were dozens of security guards with real guns standing at the entrance. It gave off a somber atmosphere, and no one dared to cause trouble in this place. At this time, a large number of people were entering and exiting the Auspicious Cloud Restaurant. It was very lively. "Sir, is there anything I can help you with?" Just as Xia Ping and the others entered the Auspicious Cloud Restaurant, an old man wearing a suit and leather shoes walked over. He had a pair of small eyes, revealing a shrewd and cunning light. "I want to buy information." Xia Ping straightforwardly stated his purpose. "Then, sir, you have come to the right place. Our Auspicious Cloud Restaurant is the largest intelligence organization in Crystal Star. There is nothing we don't know. We are all-pervasive and all-knowing." The old man in the suit originally wanted to boast, but when he saw Xia Ping's impatient expression, he immediately stopped and coughed. "Well, what does the honored guest want to know?" "I heard that there is a place in Crystal Star that has the 9 heaven-growing soil and the fragrant crystal rice. May I ask where this place is?" Xia Ping slightly smiled and looked at the old man in the suit. Feng Hatong and the others were taken aback. They knew Xia Ping's purpose this time, but this place was the source of the Red Scarf Thieves, and the fragrant crystal rice was the top secret of the Red Scarf Thieves. Revealing his purpose here was simply courting death. Wasn't he forcing the Red Scarf Thieves to find trouble with them? However, this was Xia Ping's purpose. He wanted to alert the enemy and let the people who knew about this come to find trouble with him. This way, he could directly capture the other party and interrogate them about the fragrant crystal rice, cutting through the Gordian knot. By then, he might be besieged by the Red Scarf Thieves, but with the stars here, he had nothing to fear. "What?" Sure enough, upon hearing this, the old man in the suit's pupils constricted and he asked, "Honored guest, may I know where you got this information from?" "You don't need to know that." Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back. "I just want to ask if you know about this, not for you to ask me. To be honest, is this the professional quality of the Auspicious Cloud Restaurant to question the source of the customer's information?" He was very impatient. "I'm sorry, honored guest. It was my mistake." The old man in the suit's face stiffened, and he quickly apologized. "Forget it. There's no need to apologize. You just need to tell me if you know about this information." Xia Ping waved his hand. The old man in the suit thought about it and said, "I'm sorry, honored guest. I can't make this decision. I'll need to invite the boss over." "All right, invite him over then." Xia Ping did not say anything. He knew that the bait he had thrown out had finally caught a big fish. A few minutes later, the old man in the suit walked out from the backstage again and said respectfully, "Honored guest, please come to the VIP room. The boss is waiting for you inside." Under the old man's lead, Xia Ping and the others took the elevator and went straight to the top floor. The top floor seemed to be a huge courtyard with flowers and plants planted everywhere. There were also beautiful potted plants. At the moment, the top floor was heavily guarded. There were hundreds of guards, all of whom were at least divine realm. There were 2 to 3 old men sitting in the courtyard. One of them was dressed in black and had a fat body with a big belly. However, his eyes were ferocious. He looked at the crowd as if they were ants. He emitted a terrifying aura. Apparently, he was at the beginning stage of treasure refinement. "Honored guest, this is the boss of our Auspicious Cloud Restaurant, Chu Feng." The old man in the suit introduced the fat old man. "I heard that you want to know about the fragrant crystal rice and the 9 heaven living soil?" Chapter 1354. "Do you have any information?" Xia Ping nodded and looked at the boss of Shangyun Restaurant, Chu Feng. Chu Feng narrowed his eyes and said, "There's no information that Shangyun Restaurant doesn't know, but I believe you also know how precious this information is. I'm afraid you can't afford it." "Can't afford it? How much money do you need?" Xia Ping smiled. He didn't have much else, but he had a lot of money. "We don't want money, we only want treasures." Chu Feng looked at Xia Ping. Such precious information can only be exchanged with other things. You need precious treasures to exchange for it. Interesting. What do you think of this treasure? Is it worth this information? Xiaoping grabbed with his hand and immediately took out a bottle of dragon blood from his body. Or what? The moment the glass bottle appeared, Chu Feng and the others were shocked. Their pupils contracted because they saw that the blood in the glass bottle seemed to contain the shape of a dragon. There was a vague shadow of a real dragon. The bottle was filled with terrifying yang qi, like a scorching sun. Even though they had high cultivation, they still felt like they were being burned by the heat. Heavens, dragon's blood. Could this be the legendary dragon's blood? Where did you find it? Chu Feng was shocked. He immediately recognized what was in the bottle. Arichi looked at Xiaoping in shock. A treasure like dragon blood was rare and extraordinary. It was impossible to have it unless one was a powerful cultivator. After all, the dragon race was terrifying and the real dragons were powerful. Who would dare to hunt a dragon? The surrounding people stared at the glass bottle with greed in their eyes. They instinctively told themselves that if they could get this bottle of dragon blood, their cultivation would definitely increase greatly. You don't need to know that. I just want to ask if we can exchange information. Xiaoping was not obliged to answer the other party's question. Chu Feng's eyes flickered. He was extremely eager for this bottle of dragon blood. He had a premonition that once he got this bottle of dragon blood, he could immediately improve his talent and help him break through the bottleneck. This was of great benefit to his cultivation. It was no less than a fortuitous encounter. If it's real, then exchanging information is no problem. However, I want to appraise it to see if it's real dragon blood, Chu Feng said, looking at Xiaoping. That's easy. Xiaoping didn't mind at all, and immediately handed over the bottle of dragon blood. Chu Feng took it and carefully examined it. His mind surged, and he naturally realized that this was true dragon blood. That scorching lava energy was impossible, if it was not dragon blood. Thinking of this, a fierce glint flashed in his eyes and became sharp. Why is it that the more I look at it, the stranger it is? A few days ago, my secret room in Xiangyun restaurant was robbed, and I lost a lot of my belongings. Among them was a bottle of dragon blood, which is very similar to this bottle of dragon blood. What do you mean? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes and stared at Chu Feng. The expressions of Jiang Yaru and the others also changed. They could clearly feel a trace of killing intent coming from these people, as if they wanted to harm them. The guards at the door even silently blocked the only exit. Feng Hatang's face turned green. He could see that these people from Xiangyun restaurant were greedy and wanted to rob him. Arichi also remembered that this was lawless planet, and there were vicious criminals everywhere. Trying to talk to these people was like playing the lute to a cow. Chu Feng sneered. What do you mean? Don't play dumb. If I'm not wrong, this bottle of dragon blood is the one that was stolen from my Xiangyun restaurant. It's stolen goods. Brat, you have guts. You actually dared to show up with Xiangyun restaurant's stolen goods. And you even used our treasure to buy our information. You're too presumptuous. Are you trying to get something for nothing? What kind of place do you think Xiangyun restaurant is? He directly framed Xiaoping, accusing him of stealing the treasures of the auspicious Cloud restaurant, insisting that he was the culprit. In any case, this was Xiangyun restaurant's territory, and their people were everywhere. They could say whatever they wanted. Even if this brat had 8 mouths, he wouldn't be able to explain himself. Many people from Xiangyun restaurant also revealed sinister smiles. Although there weren't many things like this, it didn't mean that they wouldn't do it. This bottle of dragon blood was worth it for them to kill this group of people. This was Crystal Planet, a lawless planet. It was common for people to kill people on the streets. This group of people didn't have any social experience, and they still dared to reveal their treasures in this place. If they didn't die, who would? They could only blame themselves for being unlucky. Chu Feng shouted angrily. Men, take them down. Before he could finish speaking, he immediately felt an intense pain in his chest. He couldn't help but let out a mournful scream. It was worse than a pig being slaughtered. Chu Feng couldn't help but lower his head to look down. His pupil shrank. He didn't know when, But a strange black spear had already pierced through his chest, shattering his heart into pieces. His body was also pierced through, dripping blood onto the ground. The spear was filled with the aura of hell, and instantly filled all the meridians in his body, causing the magic power in his body to stop circulating, and he couldn't use any strength. Chu Feng was dumbfounded. He couldn't believe what had happened to his body at all. Impossible, I'm dead. You actually dared to kill me in Xiangyun restaurant. Even though he was the boss of Xiangyun restaurant, and a big shot of the underworld, he didn't expect the young man in front of him to be so cruel. Before he could make a move, the other party actually stabbed him to death with a spear. And it was in front of everyone, in his own territory, Xiangyun restaurant. It was too ridiculous. It was also because of this blind spot that he was unprepared, and he was directly stabbed to death by Xia Ping's spear. If I want to kill you, then I'll kill you. Since I'm in the underworld, I won't be polite with you. Xia Ping looked at Chu Feng indifferently. You want to steal my dragon blood and frame me? What a joke. Why don't you consider your own background? Why don't you take a look at who you have offended? Do you think you can offend and kill anyone? Remember to be smart in your next life. Don't think you're smart. Bang! The hell spear in his hand surged with a tyrannical magic power, causing the void to tremble. Immediately, Chu Feng's entire body exploded into a mist of blood, which spread out in all directions. Naturally, the bottle of dragon blood returned to his hand. The boss of Xiangyun restaurant Chu Feng died. Xia Ping was expressionless. If it was possible, he would have wanted to use a bottle of dragon blood to exchange for this information, and he could have made a fair deal with these people. He wasn't an unreasonable person. However, these people from Xiangyun restaurant were so daring. Not only did they not want to provide information, but they also wanted to steal the dragon blood in his hands. They wanted to frame him, and they wanted to kill him. Therefore, he was so angry that he stabbed Chu Feng to death with his spear. He wanted to kill the culprit first. Chapter 1355. The X. JJX. $4. MV. STT. G4. 1I. 09X16F. Yo. Oh. Damn it, Big Brother is too cruel. Feng Hatong's face turned pale. Seeing Xia Ping kill the boss of Shangyun restaurant with a single spear strike, his heart skipped a beat. Although he already knew that Xia Ping was a person who didn't play by the rules, he didn't think that Xia Ping would dare to stab the boss of someone else's restaurant to death. This was a den of thieves. There were people from Shangyun restaurant everywhere. Killing the boss here was like poking a beehive. Things were getting out of hand. This bastard. Jiang Yaru and the others rubbed their foreheads, speechless. They all knew that Xia Ping was ruthless to the extreme. But these people actually wanted to frame Xia Ping, and even wanted to blackmail him. Weren't they just looking to die? However, they didn't blame Xia Ping. On the contrary, they understood. After all, Xia Ping clearly wanted to kill them all. It was impossible for him to reason with them. They had never heard of a rabbit being able to reason with a tiger. If they didn't stomp the tiger to death, then who would reason with them? They should just kill them first. Bastard, you actually dared to kill Lord Chu Feng. An elder of Shangyun restaurant was dumbfounded. He simply couldn't believe his eyes. He didn't think that this kid would be so cruel. He dared to kill his boss in Shangyun restaurant. He was too audacious. Stabbing Lord Chu Feng to death with a single spear strike? Is this a joke? Many people were dumbfounded. They also couldn't believe it. After all, Chu Feng was in the middle stage of the treasure refining realm. He could control the power of the heaven and earth. He was extremely powerful. But now, he was killed by this young treasure refining realm experts attacked at the same time. They felt that it was too ridiculous. It was as if all the natural energy in a bear's heart and a leopard's had been mobilized. He dared to kill people in Shangyun restaurant, and even the ground was shaking. And he even killed Chu Feng. They were filled with killing intent towards Xia Ping, and had no intention of showing any mercy. An elder was furious and shouted at Xia Ping. Kill
back
this
in the
madman.
true dragon lair.
The people of Shangyun Restaurant
only
simply
at the peak
couldn't
of the
stand
transcendent
this.
realm.
After all,
But
they
he
were
was
one of
still
the
able
biggest
to kill a
forces
few
on
treasure
Crystal
refining
Planet.
realm
They had
experts
many
with his bare
experts.
hands.
If people
Now
knew
that he
that
was
their
at the
boss had
early
been
stage
stabbed
of the
to death
treasure
in
refining
Shangyun
realm,
Restaurant,
his strength
would
was
be
many
afraid of
times
them in the
stronger.
future?
Are
Or at
merely
that
two
time,
cultivators
they would
at the
probably
beginning
be seen
stage of
as
the
weak
treasure
and easily
refining realm
bullied.
dared to
They would
attack
never
him.
have a day of
They were
peace,
courting death,
and they would not be
Arsha,
able to
Rin a
establish
flash,
themselves on
Xia
Crystal
Ping
Planet.
wielded the hell spear
Whoosh,
and
whoosh,
infused
whoosh.
his powers
Rin the
into
blink
it,
of an eye,
stabbing at the
two
two
elders
elders
from
from
the
the
Shangyun
Shangyun
Tower
Tower
came out.
Are what?
One on the left
Are
and
the
one
two
on the
elders
right.
from the
They were
Shangyun
both
Tower
at the
were
early
shocked.
stage of the
They could
treasure
feel that the
refining
speed
realm.
of the spear
Their
was simply
bodies had
too
been
fast.
integrated with the
It was like a
formation of
shooting
heaven
star,
and earth,
to the
allowing
extent that
them to
even their
control the power
consciousness
of
could not
heaven and
detect
earth.
it. Now the
Die.
spear even contained a terrifying penetrative power. They had been channeling the power of the formation within their bodies, but the penetrative power tore it apart in an instant. Not good. Someone at the side shouted, sensing that the two elders from the Shangyun Tower were in great danger. It was a life and death crisis, but it was too late to stop it now. Ardong. Rin the next second. The hell's spear pierced through the chests of the two elders as easily as piercing through tofu. Blood sprayed out like a fountain, flowing all over the ground. Arg. The two elders from the Shangyun Tower let out a shrill scream. The terrifying power from the spear spread through their bodies. With a bang, their bodies immediately exploded, turning into a cloud of blood mist. Enemy attack. Hurry, 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 activate the formation immediately. Everyone, let's work together and kill this bastard. Seeing that the two elders were killed on the spot, the remaining guards from the Shangyun Tower screamed. They were so scared that they almost peed their pants. They immediately shouted, summoning many experts from the Shangyun Tower. Some people even activated the internal formation of the Shangyun Tower. Rumble. Very soon, the entire building began to tremble, and a large formation appeared in the sky above the building. Lines appeared in the void like marks, and it was incomparably mysterious. Huh? Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. The moment the formation appeared, he immediately felt that the formation seemed to have gathered the spirit chi within a radius of tens of miles. A huge pressure crushed his body. A large amount of white mist appeared and spread everywhere, turning the entire building into a world of mist. The visibility was less than 10 centimeters. It was almost impossible to see one's own fingers. Arichi didn't think that the Shangyun Tower would be so extraordinary. They had actually built a defensive formation in their base to trap or kill their enemies. Bastard, you can't escape. Before our 8 gates cloud mist formation, even a treasure refining realm cultivator will die. Regret it now. Anyone who dares to cause trouble in the Shangyun Tower will not have a good ending. The elites of the Shangyun Tower all had ferocious looks on their faces. They were all at least early stage divine realm. There were many of them, 300 to 400 of them. They were all on the nodes of the formation, pouring their mana into their bodies. The one in charge of the formation was an old man, a treasure refining realm mid-stage cultivator. He was also the last elder of the Shangyun Tower. Arichi looked at Xia Ping with hatred. If it wasn't for this guy, the Shangyun Tower wouldn't have suffered such a disaster. You think you can kill me with just a formation? You're overestimating yourselves. Xia Ping's eyes flashed with a cold light. Hell Divine Realm, Hell Suppression Spear. Immediately, Xia Ping wielded the Hell Spear and channeled his Divine Realm power. A red formation immediately appeared on the tip of the spear, emitting a terrifying hell aura. It was as if the gates of hell had opened. Arichi held the hell spear and lightly poked it into the ground. Boom! A terrifying power surged out of the hell spear. The power seemed to be able to pierce through space as it pierced towards the formation. With a crack, the formation was easily pierced through. Black light shot out, piercing through the entire building, and piercing tens of meters into the ground. The formation was instantly broken and shattered into pieces. Arpft. The first to bear the brunt of the formation being broken was the elder of the Shangyun Tower. A terrifying power surged into his body. In just an instant, his body exploded like a balloon, turning into a cloud of blood mist. Chapter 1356. Boom. At that moment, the people outside Xiang Yin restaurant immediately noticed the situation. They were shocked to find that a black light had shot out from Xiangyun restaurant and pierced through the entire building. It was as if a large knife had cut the building in half. This power even spread to the surroundings. The roads in the distance were shattered, and cracks appeared on the walls of the surrounding buildings. It was as if they were about to shatter. This strong wave instantly covered the entire Crystal City. It was as if there was an earthquake of magnitude 5 or 6. Many of the glass windows of the buildings were shattered, and the ground was cracked. No matter what they were doing, they were all shocked by such a strong vibration. They all looked for the source of the vibration. What's going on? Why is there an earthquake all of a sudden? It's not an earthquake. There are experts fighting in Crystal City. Looking at the fluctuations of the battle, it seems to be in Xiangyun restaurant. You must be joking. Xiangyun restaurant is one of the biggest forces in Crystal Planet. They have 3 or 4 experts in the treasure refining realm. Who would dare to cause trouble in Xiangyun restaurant? Do they not want to live? I don't know. It is said that Xiangyun restaurant has been split in half. It seems to be in ruins. Turned into ruins? Is that expert really so powerful? It's not as simple as just being powerful. I have information that the owner of the Xiangyun restaurant has already been stabbed to death by that brute. The other treasure refining realm elders were also killed on the spot. The Xiangyun restaurant has suffered countless casualties. Who is it? Did Xiangyun restaurant offend some big shot? This kind of fluctuation immediately alarmed countless experts in the Crystal City. Anyone who entered the Crystal City was an extremely vicious and evil person. Naturally, their strength was not ordinary. They quickly learned of what happened in the Xiangyun restaurant. However, after knowing the truth, they all sucked in a breath of cold air. Now that Xiangyun restaurant's boss and several elders had been killed, Xiangyun restaurant was probably only in name. At this moment Xiangyun restaurant. After the great array was pierced by Xiaping's spear, the place basically turned into ruins. The people in Xiangyun restaurant, who were in the middle of the array, suffered from the backlash of the array. They were either killed or seriously injured. Only a few of them could stand up. Those who came to Xiangyun restaurant to trade were also killed and injured. However, those who came to Xiangyun restaurant were basically not good people. They were all wanted criminals from all over the universe. They had committed countless crimes. Now that they had died, it was just retribution. So many treasures. Jiang Yaru and the others widened their eyes. Following the destruction of the auspicious cloud pavilion, over 100 treasure chests fell from it. They were all made of mica gold, and were incomparably sturdy. Ordinary strength wouldn't be able to break them. When they opened the treasure chests, they immediately revealed large amounts of spirit medicines, spirit pills, spirit liquids, treasures, and even spirit treasures. These treasures were left behind by Xiangyun restaurant after many years of accumulation. Now that Xiangyun restaurant was basically destroyed, these treasures naturally belonged to them. As expected of the universe, you can find so many treasures on a random planet. If you stay in the cloud realm, you won't be able to find so many, Suji sighed. Jiang Yaru and the others couldn't help but nod in agreement. Some of the treasures here couldn't even be found in the cloud realm. Moreover, there were so many of them that even if they searched the entire cloud realm, they wouldn't be able to find so many. After all, the cloud realm was just an ordinary piece of land in the universe. In terms of the number of treasures, how could it compare to the number of planets? Xiaping raised his eyebrows. He immediately felt a powerful aura rushing towards him. Looking up, he saw a figure standing in the void, emitting a powerful aura of the middle stage of the treasure refining realm. It was a middle-aged man, wearing a black robe with a golden broadsword hanging on his waist. He was full of killing intent, and had a scar on his face. Obviously, he wasn't someone to be trifled with. Who are you? As soon as he arrived, he saw that the auspicious cloud pavilion had been turned into ruins. There were countless casualties. Anger appeared on the middle-aged man's face. He looked extremely ferocious, like a demon. He stared at Xiaping and shouted, "You dare to cause trouble in the center of Crystal City, and kill people here. Don't you know that this is against the rules of Crystal City? This is a crime punishable by death." The middle-aged man in the black robe emitted a terrifying killing intent. It condensed into a substance and covered a distance of 10 kilometers. This aura caused the sky to change color, the clouds to surge, and the spiritual chi to tumble. Everyone in the area trembled, as if they had met their natural enemy. It was as if their bones were being cut by a sword. The more timid ones were so scared that they directly knelt on the ground, trembling. My God, isn't that Yin Yong, one of the managers of Crystal City's town security? There are 9 treasure refining realm managers in Crystal City. This Yin Yong can be considered the hot-tempered type. It is said that someone accidentally glanced at him and was torn apart by 5 horses. He is extremely cruel. I didn't expect Yin Yong to appear. It seems like this is no small matter. Isn't that obvious? After all, the auspicious Cloud Pavilion is one of the biggest powers in Crystal City. Now that it has been destroyed, how can the manager of Crystal City's town security remain indifferent? That's right. I heard that the person behind the auspicious Cloud Pavilion is the Crystal City's town security. This matter is inextricably linked to them. This kid is dead for sure. No matter what, this is the territory of the managers. Even if this guy is a dragon that crosses the river, he will have to lower his head in front of the local snake. He is not a match for them. Many people were shocked by Yin Yong's appearance. It seemed that this matter had alarmed the upper echelons of Crystal City. However, many people had heard of Yin Yong's cruel personality. They were afraid of being implicated. They all fled and did not dare to stay in this place. The moment Yin Yong started a massacre, he would not care about ordinary people like them. As expected, the manager of the city still appeared. Yuchichi bared her teeth. She had expected this. How could a massacre not attract the attention of the experts here? It is not that I want to cause trouble, but this group of people from the auspicious Cloud Pavilion is too much. Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back. I took out a bottle of dragon blood to trade with them out of goodwill. I didn't expect that this group of people would be greedy at the sight of wealth. They even wanted to do evil and break the rules of the industry. So, I can only personally send them to hell to repent. I hope that they will not do such things in their next life. He looked at Yin Yong, who was in the sky. Bullshit. Yin Yong roared. This is Crystal City, the territory of us red scarf bandits. Have you asked for our permission before killing? However, since you admitted that you did it, then it is fine. This is a capital crime. Die. Boom. As soon as his voice fell, he became extremely ferocious. Suddenly, the ground within a radius of 10 kilometers trembled and swayed repeatedly. A golden broadsword was unsheathed, and it seemed as if it could split the world in half, striking towards Xiaoping. Wasn't this a capital offense? Why didn't you kill me? Xiaoping looked at Yin Yong indifferently. Hearing this, Yin Yong's complexion became extremely gloomy, but he still refused to admit defeat. Brat, don't be too arrogant. This is Crystal City, the territory of us, the Red Scarf Bandits. It is not a place for you to behave atrociously, if you know what's good for you. You talk too much nonsense. Why don't you go and chat with Hades? Xiaoping was no longer interested in listening to Yin Yong. An enemy like this must be killed with a single punch. He stepped on the air with a spear in his hand. He was like a god of war, as he attacked with a speed like a bolt of lightning. Oh no! Yin Yong was so scared that his complexion turned pale. This terrifying murderous aura spread for dozens of li. If this continued, he would definitely follow in the footsteps of the Xiang Yun restaurant's boss, and be killed by this villain. What are you all waiting for? Are you waiting for me to die, before you make your move? Yin Yong roared towards the sky with a sinister expression. This sound wave condensed into a substance, and spread throughout the entire city. It reverberated back and forth, causing everyone's ears to ring. Even a large amount of glass in the vicinity was shattered. Haha! Didn't you say before that you alone would be able to deal with this troublemaker in Crystal City? Now you are asking for help. This is not your character. However, this will allow me to watch a good show. With a swoosh, 8 figures immediately flew out from every corner of the city. Each of them emitted a condensed aura that drew the power of heaven and earth. Clearly, They were all treasure-refining realm experts. They flew through the air and stood high up in the sky like gods, surrounding Xiaoping. The 9 managers attacked at the same time. The people nearby were shocked. They immediately recognized these 9 people. They were the 9 treasure-refining realm experts who were in charge of the Crystal City. Normally they wouldn't show up. However, in order to deal with the troublemaker, all of them were mobilized. Clearly, they were taking this matter seriously. It could be said that the top forces of Crystal City had all come out. Many people knew that this kid was dead for sure. Facing the siege of 9 treasure-refining realm experts, there was no reason for him to not die. Feeling these tyrannical auras, Xiaoping suddenly stopped and raised his eyebrows. This was because he saw that one of the managers was Su Liangyin, whom he met at the port. Brother Wu, I didn't think we would meet again so soon. You came here and immediately started a massacre, and even injured my Crystal City's manager. Isn't this a bit too much? Su Liangyin's expression was gloomy as he looked at Xiaoping. Of course, he remembered this young man from the port. Previously, he had coveted the 4 women by his side, and wanted to take them as human cauldrons. However, he didn't think that things would change so quickly. In less than a day, this kid had caused such a big commotion, and even destroyed the Xiangyun restaurant, causing unimaginable losses to their organization. Especially the destruction of the Xiangyun restaurant. He was simply going crazy, because the big boss behind the Xiangyun restaurant was him. Now that the people of the Xiangyun restaurant were all killed, he had suffered heavy losses. One could imagine the hatred he felt at the moment. He even wanted to kill Xiaoping. If he had known that this kid was a thorn, he would have killed him at the port to prevent him from coming here to harm the common people. No, it's not too much at all. Those who are my enemies must die, no matter where they come from. Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back. If you kowtow and apologize now and compensate 10 billion universe dollars, maybe you can appease my anger. Otherwise, blood will flow like a river in Crystal City today. He stated his conditions. Bullshit. A manager was furious. Who the hell do you think you are? You came to Crystal City to kill people and burn things. You are lawless, and even injured one of our managers. You want us to compensate 10 billion universe dollars. Do you think we are all fools? The other stewards were also enraged. They felt that this kid was too lawless and arrogant. He didn't put the 9 stewards in his eyes at all. It was fine if he killed someone, but he actually wanted them to compensate for their losses. Did he think they were made of mud? They couldn't take such contempt. Su Liangyin's mouth twitched. He felt that he had met a madman. Who is it? I will not change my name or my surname, Master Wu. Xiaoping clenched his fists. I know that you are not convinced, but it's okay. Wait for me to kill a few of you. You will be convinced soon. Chapter 1358. What? The moment these words came out, the 9 stewards immediately felt a violent aura surging out from Xiaoping's body. It was as if an ancient divine beast was shaking the void. This aura covered the entire Crystal City, causing the ground to tremble slightly. Inside the Crystal City, some of the weaker cultivators were so scared that they knelt on the ground. Some even fainted. Their mental power was too weak, and could not withstand such a terrifying aura. This guy isn't just an arrogant person who speaks empty words. Su Liangyin and the others immediately became vigilant. As treasure-refining realm cultivators, their instinct for danger had been trained to a very high level. Naturally, they could feel the terrifying power contained in Xia Ping's body. Once it exploded, the world would be turned upside down. If the opponent was just a braggart, then it would be fine. However, the opponent had a tyrannical strength. He had destroyed the Xiangyun restaurant and killed the few treasure-refining realm cultivators inside in an instant. How could such a person be insignificant? Yin Yong was very clear about Xia Ping's strength. After all, he had fought against him before. But Xia Ping was able to kill him in 2 or 3 moves without being able to resist. Be careful, this kid is not simple. If we are not careful, I'm afraid we will fail miserably. Yin Yong secretly transmitted his voice to warn the other 8 stewards. What kind of joke is this? Fail miserably? The 9 of us are gathered here. Could it be that we cannot kill a little kid? Does he think he is a golden core enlightened master? Some stewards were immediately dissatisfied. They felt that this was elevating the enemy and belittling themselves. No, I can feel that this kid's strength is not ordinary. One-on-one, we are definitely not his match. That's right. This is Crystal City, our territory. There is no need to fight one-on-one with the opponent. That's right. If we let this kid destroy this place, I'm afraid the entire Crystal City will be destroyed. All our years of accumulation will be gone. Use everything you have to kill this madman. There is no need to talk about morality with him. The 9 stewards secretly transmitted their thoughts to each other. If they joined forces, killing this arrogant master would naturally not be a problem. However, the destructive power of a battle between treasure-refining realm cultivators was too terrifying. Even if it was 9 against 1, a treasure refinement realm expert could easily destroy the Crystal City if he went all out. One had to know that Crystal City was their blood, sweat, and tears for many years. It was also their greatest wealth, and the foundation of the Red Scarf Bandits. They absolutely did not want it to be destroyed in such a battle. This was like cutting their flesh and sucking their blood. Therefore, they thought that it was best to kill Master Potato in an instant, so as not to drag a few scapegoats with him before he died. I suggest that we activate the 4 symbols Baleful Earth formation in the Crystal City, and annihilate this enemy with lightning speed to eliminate all future troubles. Su Liangyin transmitted his voice with surging killing intent, and was extremely ruthless. He sneered in his heart. Originally, he wanted to slowly deal with this Master Potato and snatch the woman beside him. But the plan couldn't keep up with the changes. He didn't expect this kid to be so cruel. He just came to the Crystal City, and he already caused trouble. However, this was good as well. He would be able to take this brat's life. At that time, those women and the various treasures on this brat would all belong to him. What? The eyes of Yin Yong and the others lit up. The 4 symbols Baleful Earth formation was one of the ultimate weapons of the Crystal City. It would not be easily used unless there was a great crisis. Once it was used, it would not stop until the enemy was dead. After all, every time the formation was activated, it would consume an astronomical amount of energy. Usually, they were reluctant to use it. Second it. That's right. Activate the 4 symbols Baleful Earth formation and kill this brat. Agreed. Soon, the other stewards immediately agreed with Su Liangyin's opinion, because they sensed that Xia Ping's strength was not to be underestimated. If he was not killed as soon as possible, who knows how many troubles would be left behind. They were also very decisive people. Once they decided, they immediately took action and activated the formation of the entire Crystal City. Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. He noticed that the 9 stewards formed a seal with both hands and seemed to have triggered the power of the formation of the entire city. All of a sudden, Crystal City underwent earth-shaking changes. The sky, which was originally clear and boundless, was now covered with thick layers of clouds. The clouds tumbled and flowed like the Milky Way. It seemed to have solidified, and a crashing sound reverberated through the void. The entire city was filled with terrifying energy. The city walls, streets, tall buildings, and every building was emitting an azure energy radiance. It seemed to have covered every inch of the city. Rumble, in the void in the north, south, east, and west, there seemed to be images of the azure dragon, white tiger, vermilion bird, black tortoise, and other divine beasts. All of them were formed by the baleful aura. Although they were just images, they contained a trace of divine might. At the moment when the four symbols appeared, everyone in the Crystal City seemed to have been hit by the fixed body technique. They were all frozen, because the moment the formation energy was activated, even the space seemed to have solidified. They were extremely frightened because the magic power in their bodies was affected, and they seemed to be unable to circulate. Oh no, they actually activated the formation of the Crystal City? What kind of powerful enemy did they encounter, that even the four symbols' baleful earth formation was activated? Many cultivators were shocked. Since the establishment of the Crystal City until now, the number of times this four symbols' baleful earth formation was activated could be counted on one's fingers. Because of the long period of time, many people had forgotten how terrifying the formation of the Crystal City was. But now it was activated by the 9 stewards. The people in the Crystal City instantly recalled the power of the formation. Four symbols' baleful earth formation? I didn't expect that the Crystal City could set up such a formation. Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. In a few breaths' time, the clouds in the sky had already covered a radius of thousands of kilometers. A large formation was floating in the void, outlining silver lines. He extended his divine senses, and immediately sensed that the entire Crystal City, which could accommodate millions of people, had formed a large formation. Every street in the city seemed to have turned into the formation lines, and were emitting azure radiance. Deep underground, the formation base, which was formed by the mithril, spiritual stone, mica steel, gold, amber, and other precious ores, was activated. The formation was operating at a crazy speed. Every building in the Crystal City seemed to have merged into one at this moment. It was as though they had transformed into a part of this large formation and were contributing their power to the depths of the formation. Amazing! They actually condensed the entire city into a large formation and a magic treasure. How extravagant! Xiaoping's eyes lit up. If it was in the past, he wouldn't be able to see the profoundness of the Crystal City. But after learning the distant fire forging technique, and learning the 18,000 basic formations, his eyesight was extremely high. He could immediately tell that under the leadership of someone with a purpose, this Crystal City would be irrigated with mithril, spiritual stone, mica steel, gold, amber, and other precious ores every year. Over time, in addition to the tempering of countless cultivators, the entire city was condensed into a magic treasure and merged into one. Chapter 1359. The moment the formation was activated, the soldiers of Crystal City also knew about this matter. The 9 stewards actually attacked at the same time, and even activated the four symbols earth-killing formation. It seems like this troublemaker is dead for sure. He dares to break into Crystal City and cause trouble? How many years has it been since something like this happened? Is that person tired of living? What is his background? I don't know. It seems like today is his first day in Crystal City. He also has a few women with him. He seems to be a fledgling young master. I'm afraid he is a rookie from a big family. A young master from a big family? I have seen too many people like this. Relying on their little ability, they cause trouble everywhere. They don't know that the universe is vast. How can a small family run amok? That's right. After offending us, the red scarf thieves, this kid is dead for sure. Yes, this troublemaker must be killed. Hang his head on the city wall as a warning to others. Otherwise, if any Tom, Dick, or Harry were to cause trouble in Crystal City, it would be troublesome in the future. I agree. I think after he dies, we should divide the women around him and have a good time. The soldiers of Crystal City laughed cruelly. Their killing intent soared. Many soldiers even planned to attack Yaru and the others to prevent them from escaping. At this moment in the sky, Xiaoping and the 9 stewards were confronting each other. Master Mateto, a white-robed steward shouted, surrender. Once the four symbols earth-killing formation is activated, you will be like a turtle in a jar. There is nowhere to escape. You will not be able to escape from Crystal City. His voice contained endless killing intent. It seemed like he wanted to subdue the enemy without a fight. Ordinary cultivators would be scared out of their wits by this shout. The other stewards also had cold eyes. Although they were confident of victory, it was better to be safe than sorry. Who knew what kind of power a treasure-refining realm expert would use when he went all out? If they could use words to make the opponent lose his will to fight and surrender, it would naturally be a good thing for them. They could capture this enemy alive without a fight. Escape? You are a bit arrogant. I will just kill all of you. There is no need to escape. Xia Ping's figure flashed and suddenly disappeared in the sky. Martial Dao Divine Ability Kunpeng Steps. The transparent wings on his back, combined with the infernal golden crow's wings, allowed his speed to reach an unimaginable level, and he vaguely felt like he was shuttling through space. Even with the obstruction of the formation's power, it could not hinder his speed. A second later, he appeared behind the steward and stabbed out with his hell spear. So fast. Su Liangyin jumped in fright. It had to be known that the four symbols Earth Fiend formation had been activated. The air was filled with the boundless baleful energy that the formation had absorbed from the depths of the earth, causing the air to become solid. Apart from the people who were in charge of the formation, it was impossible for others to move freely in the formation. If one was weak, they might even be suppressed to the point of being unable to move. However, this kid didn't seem to be suppressed. Or rather, even if he was suppressed, he could still display such astonishing speed. Fool, the white-robed manager sneered again and again. Under the four symbols Earth Fiend formation, I am invincible. This formation can give me endless support, increasing my strength by 10 times. Fighting with me is just courting death. Once the formation was activated, not only could it seal the heavens and lock the earth, it could obstruct the enemy's movements. And the power of the formation could even be added to the people who were in charge of the formation, increasing their strength, speed, and the power of their divine arts by several times. This was the terrifying power of the formation. It was as if the power of heaven and earth was added to their bodies, and they had received the blessings of the heavens. With one added and one subtracted, how could this enemy be a match for the 9 stewards? Martial Dao Mystique, Rushing Thunder Hand. In an instant, the white-robed manager made his move. His body immediately exploded with a terrifying electric current, crackling and rattling like a descending thunder god. A jade-like hand slapped out. This huge hand seemed to be controlling the power of thunder, condensing into a long thunder spear. Just like that, it shot out and collided with the power of the hell spear. Under the support of the four symbols Earth Fiend formation, the power of this martial Dao Mystique increased by several times. The thunder turned into the thickness of a water bucket, containing an extremely terrifying destructive power. If an ordinary cultivator came into contact with it, they would immediately be electrocuted into a charred corpse. However, the moment the two forces collided, the white-robed manager was instantly stunned. His complacent smile quickly disappeared, and what replaced it was endless fear and panic. How is this possible? You can actually resist this old man's rushing thunder hand. The white-robed manager screamed. He felt his rushing thunder hand coming into contact with this long spear. Immediately, it was torn apart by the opponent's strength. Just like a spiral, it was completely torn apart. Even the power of thunder was the same. It was torn apart like paper. If it was only like this, then so be it. He was not afraid in the slightest. Because thunder possessed the property of transmission, he could completely pass through the long spear and penetrate the power of thunder into this brat's body, electrocuting this guy to death. Before, he did not know how many enemies had been electrocuted under his rushing thunder hand. There was no exception. The problem was that after the enormous power of thunder entered this brat's body, that bastard was unexpectedly unscathed. It was as if he was a huge battery, swallowing his thunder energy cleanly. His greatest means, his strongest magical power, in front of the opponent was nothing more than a joke. How could he accept such an absurd thing? Die! Xia Ping's spear smashed the opponent's rushing thunder hand. At the same time, his left fist blasted out. His fist contained the power of thunder.
Martial Dao magical power, lightning fist. His left hand grasped the void thunder energy in the palm of his hand. In the depths of his palm, a thunder array emerged. The lines were densely packed, as if engraved in the depths of the void. Dong! This punch, without hesitation, immediately blasted out toward the manager. The speed was so fast that divine sense could not perceive it. Save me, save me, save me! The manager screamed and repeatedly cried for help. He felt a fatal crisis. If he could not block this punch, he would die. He would be blown up by this punch. What? Su Liangyin and others were shocked. They thought that with the endless blessing of the four symbols evil formation, even if the manager was not Master Matato's opponent, he could still resist 1 or 2 attacks. Who would have thought that with just one move, he would be beaten to collapse and fall into a life and death crisis? But the speed of Xiaoping's punch was too fast. Moreover, they were also a certain distance away from the manager. With such a fast speed and such a short distance, how could they react? Boom! In the next second, everyone in Crystal City subconsciously looked up at the sky. A bolt of lightning cut across the void. It seemed to tear the sky into 2 halves. It was extremely dazzling, almost blinding their eyes. Then a mournful scream came out. A manager's chest was penetrated. Blood dripped everywhere. The terrifying thunder energy wreaked havoc in his body. His body swelled up like a balloon. Chapter 1360. Bastard, how dare you kill 5th brother? Kill him. Damn it. I was too careless and 5th brother failed miserably. I told you to be careful, but you still didn't believe me. If you keep acting recklessly, we're dead. We can't let him continue like this. We have to kill him immediately. The 9 managers, no, the 8 managers, Yi Liangyin, Yen Yong, and the others glanced at each other and saw the murderous intent in each other's eyes. They didn't dare to be careless anymore. In an instant, the 8 managers attacked at the same time, using their spells and powers. Martial spell, Baleful Bone Claw. A steward shouted. A pair of sharp white claws seemed to stretch out from the void, as though they came from the yellow springs of hell. These claws contained a terrifying Baleful energy. This was his strongest divine ability, the Baleful Whitebone Claws. In order to cultivate this divine ability, one had to collect the 9 earth baleful qi, bathe in this baleful qi, and refine it for 49 years. This feeling was like being bitten by thousands of ants, and it was as painful as hell. Only then could one successfully cultivate it. Because this divine ability was so difficult to cultivate, it also caused its power to be boundless. Once it was used, there was nothing it couldn't destroy, and it specialized in breaking through defensive stellar energy. The moment this mystic art was used, the temperature in the surrounding 10 miles dropped by dozens of degrees. The ground was frozen, and the air was filled with yin qi, causing one's body to shiver. Spear of Fire. One of the stewards held a spear. It was a low-grade spirit weapon that contained the power of a fire dragon. As he stabbed out, the fire energy within the spear exploded out, transforming into a fire dragon that roared crazily as it charged out. This spiritual weapon was extremely terrifying. This manager had once used the spear, and the fire spread, instantly burning a city with over 100 million people. After 3 days and 3 nights, the fire didn't disappear. Soul-snatching hook, said a manager holding a soul-snatching hook. It was a demonic weapon, and contained terrifying demonic energy. When it struck out, it could appear and disappear like a ghost. If one was hooked, not only would their body be pierced, even their soul would be hooked out. He was also called the soul-snatching envoy, and was feared by everyone in the Crystal City. Baron Mountain Stamp. Yi Liangyin held a large golden seal in his hand. He looked like an emperor as he smashed it over. It was as if Mount Tai was descending from the sky, and its weight was unbearable. This Baron Mountain Seal was a low-grade spiritual weapon. It was said that it was forged by a weapon-refining Grand Master. A mountain was completely smelted, countless precious ores were added, and a gravity formation was engraved on it. Once this great seal smashed down, even a city would be smashed into smithereens. It was as if a meteor had fallen, and there was a world-destroying power within it. It was incredibly terrifying.
The other stewards also displayed their abilities and didn't have the slightest intention of holding back. The death of the previous steward had completely reminded them that if they dared to hold back in the face of such a fiend, they would simply be courting death. Dark North Body Protection Technique. In an instant, Xiaoping used the Dark North Body Protection Technique, and a heaven and earth array immediately appeared in his body, drawing the power of heaven and earth, and the mana in the depths of the void brood, turning into a kunpeng. With his body as the center, an energy field immediately formed. It was like the veins of an ancient tortoise shell. It appeared layer by layer, and the energy also flowed like water. Bang bang bang. The powers of the 8 stewards all bombarded Xiaoping's body, and suddenly, there was a heavy sound, like the sound of an ancient musical instrument, or like the sound of an ancient temple bell. Impossible. The 8 stewards were all shocked. They found that when their attacks bombarded the energy shell, it seemed like they were not absorbed, but instead were transferred to the surrounding void. It was as if a kunpeng had devoured all of their power, and there was a feeling of invincibility. What kind of body protection technique is this? Yi Liangyin's eyes almost popped out. He thought that the barren mountain seal would be able to smash this arrogant person to death. But who would have thought that the seal would land on his body and not move at all? This scene completely shook his confidence. Oh no, retreat quickly. A steward's expression changed, because he realized that after this attack, the kid in front of him suddenly attacked him, and his fist seemed to contain the power of stars. Oh no, this kid has formed a star body. Is this a joke? This is one of the strongest bodies in the universe. Where did this monster come from? Yin Yong was shocked, and he stared at Xiaoping. The other stewards also looked over, and found that Xiaoping's body seemed to have turned into a star, and he received the power of the stars in the sky. The world turned dark, and in the depths of the void, there were countless stars flashing, and the stars fell from the void. As Xiaoping moved, it was as if the stars were dancing, and the starlight was like a peerless divine spear. Once they got close to their bodies, they would immediately be pierced by the starlight. Yi Liangyin immediately knew that this time they had kicked an iron plate. Any cultivator who had formed a star body type had the potential to become a saint, and they were invincible among the same level. Even if their cultivation was a bit higher than Master Mateto, in terms of fighting power, they were definitely not his match. No wonder he calls himself Master Mateto, and thinks that he is the Mount Tai of the martial arts world. Yi Liangyin heard this name, and could hear the raging ambition of this kid. Baleful Yin Whitebone Claw. A steward's complexion changed greatly. He was the closest to Xiaoping, and he suddenly found that he was being attacked. He immediately urged the magic power in his body, and displayed his strongest attack, trying to resist Xiaoping's attack. Xiaoping didn't even look at it, and punched. His fist seemed to have gushed out a star array, and countless starlight gathered. Ah! A scream came out. Immediately, the baleful Yin Whitebone Claw was immediately smashed into pieces, and the so-called baleful Yin Chi was instantly obliterated by the power of the stars. At the same time, the steward also flew upside down, and was directly blasted away for more than 10 kilometers. His body smashed through dozens of buildings in succession, and the ground also abruptly cracked, and gravel splashed in all directions. Master Mateto, die for me. The 5 stewards attacked, and surrounded Xiaoping from all directions, and set up a killing trap. Star guiding art, boundless gravity. Xiaoping gently patted, and with his body as the center, the gravity of more than 10 kilometers instantly changed, and increased by thousands of times, crushing towards the bodies of the 5 stewards. They were caught off guard, and their attacking movements were distorted, and their whole body fell like meteorites. Dong dong dong. Xiaoping instantly punched, and with a shake and an explosion, the fist imprint was branded in the void. As if it was connected to the gods, the void trembled, and the fist energy exploded, as if even a mountain was blown up. The 5 stewards screamed, and their body's protective aura was smashed by the fist, and they were directly smashed into the ground, and in an instant, 5 huge deep pits appeared in the ground. Chapter 1361. Die. Taking advantage of the fact that Xia Ping had just defeated the 5 stewards and had yet to recover his powers, Su Liangyin and the other steward joined forces to attack. Su Liangyin in particular held a golden stamp, the stamp of the barren mountain. He smashed down. This stamp was like a mountain that weighed billions of tons. An array appeared and crushed down. It contained terrifying energy. Once touched, one would either die or be injured. Die! Xia Ping didn't even look. He turned around and kicked. Dong! This kick landed on the golden stamp, and terrifying chi of the stars exploded. It was like 2 planets colliding, creating a loud explosion. The air cracked inch by inch, forming a vacuum zone. Oh no! Su Liangyin's expression changed. He could feel the terrifying power from Xia Ping's kick. It also contained the power of a spiral. In an instant, it penetrated the defense of the array, and the chi seeped into his body. In the next second, his hands felt numb and his body trembled. Just like that, he was flung backward. He couldn't help but puke out a mouthful of blood in midair. Even the stamp of the barren mountain was kicked away. After a rumble, the stamp of the barren mountain was kicked into pieces and crumbled in midair. Su Liangyin also flew out. Then he slid across the ground for 20 miles. Along the way, he smashed who knows how many buildings, causing them to collapse one by one. Run! The other steward peed his pants. He originally thought he had an opportunity to kill Xia Ping. He didn't think that one kick would turn Su Liangyin half dead. Now he was the only one left. How could this be? Immediately, his silhouette flashed, and he displayed his extreme speed to escape and avoid Xia Ping's attack. However, before the steward could move a few meters, Xia Ping took a step forward and crossed the void. He suddenly punched at the steward with the power to carry a mountain. Bang! The steward didn't even have time to scream. His head exploded like a watermelon. Blood dripped and half of his body fell to the ground, kicking up a cloud of dust. Oh my god, he's too strong. Is this kid a monster? 9 great treasure refining realm managers joined hands, and even activated the 4 symbols Earth Fiend formation. But they were actually beaten by this brat to the point where they couldn't even fight back. I feel like I'm having a nightmare. This is too unbelievable. A bunch of idiots. Can't you see that this kid has condensed a star body? This is one of the strongest physiques in the universe. Once it is successfully condensed, there is hope of becoming a saint. This is an existence that is invincible among those of the same level. That's right. If you want to become a sage, you have to be invincible among your peers. Along the way, you have to sweep across the world. If you don't have such abilities, how can you become a sage? Why would such a monster appear on Crystal Planet? This is the lawless zone, a playground for criminals. It wouldn't be strange for such a monster to become a true disciple of a sacred sect. Who knows? Maybe he just happened to pass by. Looks like the situation with the Crystal City enforcement personnel is fraught with grim possibilities. Many people in the distance were scared out of their wits by such a scene. After a few exchanges, 8 of the 9 chief stewards were instantly crippled, and 1 was beaten to death. What kind of battle record was this? They could feel Xia Ping's violent aura in midair. It was as if a strand of it could crush them to death. He was like a peerless beast that walked out of the chaos. Whoosh! Xia Ping used the Kuanpeng step and rushed toward these stewards, not giving them any time to breathe. Suddenly, Yin Yong and the others were scared out of their wits. Wait, Master Potato, don't you want the lives of your companions? Ha! Xia Ping immediately stopped. His divine sense covered the entire city, and immediately sensed that the ruins where the Xiangyun restaurant was originally located was now filled with tens of thousands of soldiers. These soldiers immediately surrounded the ruins and surrounded Jiang Yaru and the others. Each of them revealed a fiendish look. At that time, as long as they gave the order, they would be able to hack them to death. Want to use their lives to threaten me? Xia Ping narrowed his eyes and stared at Yin Yong and the others. His eyes revealed a dangerous look. It's not a threat, it's just a deal. Seeing Xia Ping's expression, Yin Yong immediately calmed down and said, using their lives to exchange for our lives, don't you think this is a very fair thing? He felt that since he had the lives of those women in his hands, He was qualified to negotiate with this kid. Fair. I don't think that the lives of a few people who are about to die are worth exchanging, Xiaoping lightly said. If you are willing to commit suicide, maybe I can leave your corpses intact. For this kind of vicious red scarf thief, since they have offended him, they must cut the weeds and eliminate the roots. Otherwise, in the future, there will be trouble, and at that time, it would be too late to regret. People who are about to die. Arrogant brat, who do you think you are? You want us to commit suicide? Simply a joke. He doesn't have the intention to negotiate. Since he wants his companions to die, let his companions follow him. This is Crystal City. We still have a backup plan. Don't think that you can really eat us. Kill those women, dismember them, rape them first, then kill them. A group of stewards roared. Their faces were ferocious. They were completely enraged by Xiaoping's words. Even if they have to pay a certain price, they must kill all of this kid's companions. Hearing these words, the soldiers of Crystal City immediately moved and attacked Jiang Yaru and the others. Don't even think about running. The remaining 8 stewards immediately struggled and flew up, surrounding Xiaoping, wanting to stop him from rescuing them. Little gold, shoot them. Xiaoping didn't even look at them, and immediately sent an order through his divine sense. Previously, he had already considered this situation, so he let the golden slime hide beside Jiang Yaru and the others, in order to prevent people from capturing them to threaten him. Xiao xiao xiao. In an instant, swords shot out from the ground, tens of thousands of sharp blades piercing out. The surrounding Tenli seemed to have turned into a mountain of blades hell, emitting endless cold light. Aha! Immediately, the soldiers of Crystal City let out mournful screams. Before they could even get close to Jiang Yaru and the others, their bodies were pierced by a sharp blade, splitting them into 2 halves, dripping with blood. Some people wanted to block, but it was useless. This kind of blade specialized in breaking through earth energy, instantly piercing through their bodies. Moreover, the speed was extremely fast, like a poisonous snake, appearing and disappearing unpredictably. In just a few breaths, those soldiers of Crystal City were immediately turned into a pile of minced meat. Tens of thousands of soldiers were killed, not a single one was spared. Blood flowed, almost turning the land into a sea of blood. What is that? Magic treasure. It's definitely that kid's magic treasure. It can actually transform into tens of thousands of blades. How can it be so terrifying? Chapter 1362. Alright, it's your turn. How do you want to die? Xiaoping looked at Su Liangyin and the others indifferently. How do you want to die? The one who will die is you, Master Potato. One of the stewards roared. The other stewards immediately took action and formed a seal with both hands. With a puff, they spat out a mouthful of essence blood and sprayed it on the formation. Terrifying energy was injected into it. Rumble! The entire Crystal City shook again. On the square, on the streets, and on the buildings a formation appeared. Some were 6-pointed stars, some were 5-pointed stars, there were 8 trigrams, 9 stars, and so on. All kinds of formation patterns appeared and quickly gathered together. In the void, lines after lines intertwined with each other. The clouds in the sky flowed like mercury and were filled with an oppressive aura. It seemed to have formed a domain. Endless evil spirits from the depths of the earth gushed out from all 4 directions. Under the guidance of the formation, they gathered in the sky above the city and quickly turned into a black dragon. The 8 treasure refining realm cultivators desperately drove the 4-symbol earth-killing formation to exert unprecedented power. The power of every formation in the Crystal City was raised to the limit. Obviously, in order to kill Xiaoping, these stewards mobilized the power of the Crystal City's formation, condensing all the evil spirits together and exerting the strongest attack. Even a true fire realm cultivator had to be careful when facing this attack. Such a strong power. Countless people in the Crystal City were shocked. When this formation was in full operation, the air seemed to turn into mercury. They felt like they had fallen into a swamp. It took a lot of energy to move a step. If this formation had been used against them, they would have been killed in an instant. Especially the endless evil spirits. It was simply the biggest nemesis of cultivators. Once the evil spirits entered their body, it was difficult to expel it with their magic power. It could even corrode their magic power and destroy their martial arts foundation. Roar! Under the control of Su Liangyin and the others, the black dragon formed by the evil spirits roared and swayed its huge tail, rushing towards Xiaping. Insignificant skill. Xiaping's expression was very indifferent. If it was an ordinary person facing this endless evil spirits, they would be killed in an instant. Unfortunately, there were several powers in his body that were the nemesis of evil spirits. It could be said that they had found the wrong enemy. Hell Divine Ability, Hell Suppressing Demon Spear. Gripping the Hell's Spear tightly, he unleashed the Hell's Divine Ability and poured all of his magic power into it, activating the power deep within the Hell's Spear. A spell formation appeared in the air. Indistinctly, the scene of layers of hell appeared in the sky above the Crystal City. The Infernal Hell, 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 and so on. The hellish power stacked on top of each other, giving off a shocking aura and destructive power. It was as if it had come from the depths of hell, turning the entire world into an underworld. What is this? Many of the cultivators in the Crystal City were shivering. They could feel the aura of hell. It was as though a bull's head and a horse's face had appeared and pulled their souls into hell. Is this the power of the Hell Spear? It's amazing. At this moment, Xiaping was in a mysterious state. He was using all of his power to control the Hell Spear, and his divine sense was completely infused into the weapon. He could feel strands of the profound mysteries of hell, and he seemed to have comprehended the power of the Hell Spear technique. He could feel that his understanding of the hell-suppressing demon spear was deepening. From the depths of the void, a huge amount of hellish power surged in and poured into the Purple Kingdom, causing his magic power to increase crazily. In just a few breaths, he had reached the peak of the initial stage of Treasure Refining Realm. It was as though he could advance to the intermediate stage of Treasure Refining Realm in the next second. There were no bottlenecks, and it was as though success would follow naturally. It was obvious that the more he unleashed the Hell's Spear, the more benefits it would bring him. Kill! Xiaping attacked with all his might. A vast amount of magic power exploded, raising the power of the hell-suppressing demon spear to the limit. The spear's sharpness exploded and solidified. It was as though a demon god had appeared in the void, holding a long spear. Countless hellish powers stacked on the tip of the spear. This power seemed to be able to suppress everything. No enemy could escape, and would be completely suppressed. Dong! With just one strike, the black dragon formed by the baleful aura couldn't block it at all. Its body was instantly pierced through, and from head to tail, it was as though it was made into a barbecue skewer. When the baleful aura came into contact with the hellish aura, it melted like snow, and was quickly devoured by the countless demons. This seemed to be their greatest tonic. Boom! After piercing through the baleful black dragon, the entire Crystal City could not withstand such power. It seemed as though the magic array had been shaken to the point of collapsing. Fine cracks appeared on every building. Even every street had large amounts of cracks. Rocks flew everywhere. This affected the base of the malevolent four symbols matrix, and it could no longer display its original power. Because the matrix was collapsing, Su Liangyin and the others felt the backlash of the matrix. Horrifying baleful aura surged into their bodies and covered them. Bang bang bang. In an instant, 3 stewards couldn't withstand the backlash. Their bodies swelled up like balloons. Then they exploded and turned into meat paste. The remaining 5 were blown away as well. They were heavily injured and coughed up blood. Die! Xiaping's silhouette flashed. He wanted to kill the remaining 5 stewards and get rid of the problem. Stop! Suddenly, a loud roar came from the depths of the Crystal City. The entire city was shaking and the earth was shaking. A demonic aura crushed over, and even the air seemed to have turned into mercury. Countless cultivators felt as though they were carrying a mountain on their backs. With a bang, they were all pressed onto the ground and couldn't move. Huh! Xiaping frowned. He could feel that the aura was boundlessly terrifying. It was impossible to fight against. This wasn't something that a cultivator of the treasure-refining realm could compare to. The person who came might be an expert of the true fire realm. Dong! A figure broke through the air and fell from the sky. It landed in front of Xia Ping in an instant and created a deep pit with a diameter of a few kilometers. The surrounding buildings collapsed from the impact. His aura was too terrifying. Even the rocks on the ground were easily crushed into powder. It was an old man in a white robe. He stood with his hands behind his back. Just by standing on the ground, he seemed to have an unshakable aura. The entire planet was trembling slightly. What a strong soul power! Xia Ping's eyes lit up. He could feel an extremely strong soul power from the old man in a white robe. However, it was different from an ordinary soul. His soul was burning like a flame. It felt as though his soul would be completely melted if he took a step closer. Crystal City Governor Jiang Jun. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.